Chapter 11:16. At the Earth Alliance's Pacific headquarters, a giant dragon appeared from the clouds. The ground troops looked at the giant dragon nervously. Oh my god, do you see those ground cannons? If I hadn't told them in advance, they would have opened fire. Li Muhua was scared. Those cannons. Lu Chen smiled. Fortunately, they didn't attack. Otherwise, if they angered the 10-winged, it would probably be a sea of fire below. In order to arrange the landing of the 10-winged, the ground cleared out a large landing pad. After the 10-winged came down, Lu Chen saw the surrounding soldiers looking at the 10-winged with fear and envy. This is too domineering. I feel that the 9-winged is much more powerful than when I saw it in the Jiutian. It doesn't look like a 9-winged. It has 10 pairs of wings. A 10-winged celestial dragon? Is this Mad God's new mount? It's already manifested. How much money is that? Money? Money can't buy that. Lu Chen didn't have time to pay attention to these people. Under Li Muhua's lead, he walked quickly to the Alliance's headquarters. At this time, the highest leaders of the Alliance and the various countries' military were already waiting for Lu Chen at the door. Li Muhua had never seen such an exaggerated scene. The military representatives of various countries had to personally welcome him. Only the solipsistic could enjoy such treatment. Lu Chen entered the meeting room surrounded by the crowd. In the meeting room, Lu Chen made a request, hoping that the level 5 players could help him find Jiu, of the Wood Mansion. Of course, Lu Chen also briefly explained the situation of the dark erosion. In short, the sooner we find Jiu, of the Wood Mansion, the more likely it is to save her. Not to mention the relationship between Lu Chen and the Wood Mansion. If Jiu of the Wood Mansion was really possessed by the dark erosion, then she would become a threat to Lu Chen. Lu Chen's safety was related to the safety of all the players on Earth. There was no doubt about this. Wuxia, representing the Great Wall of Iron and Blood, said, "Mad God, we will arrange this matter immediately. Although we don't have many people in the 5th layer of heaven, only around 400, the natives, the East Mountain Nation, and even the other nations will support us." Oh. Lu Chen felt a little strange. It was understandable that the Aborigines and the Eastern Peak Nation helped him, but other countries also helped him? When did they become so enthusiastic? The Great Wall of Iron and Blood laughed. I can't say that I'm enthusiastic. Mad God, the spirit stone mine you left behind is now the largest spirit stone mine in the 5th heaven. We have maintained very close spirit stone exchanges with other countries. Plus, they know that Mad God is an earthling and are very polite to us. They will definitely help us with this small matter. Lu Chen nodded. So it turned out that they were related by interest. All right, let me thank them first. After that, Lu Chen learned about the current development of Earth. Because of Lu Chen, the players on Earth were developing very well in the low-level heavens, and the guide project had been operating very efficiently. At present, the phenomenon of attribute extraction was becoming more and more common. After research, if both parents had extraordinary attributes, the newborn would be stronger than their peers. In other words, the strengthening of the parents' bodies could be inherited. Hearing the results of this research, Lu Chen was also in disbelief. Although the enhancement of a newborn's physique is not too exaggerated, it at least proves that humans have embarked on a new path of evolution. The Great Wall of Iron and Blood said, "What we have been looking forward to has finally become a reality." Lu Chen looked at the excited expressions on the faces of the representatives of various countries. In fact, there was one thing he had not told them. That was the final battle 7 years later. In the Whirlpool world, Lu Chen saw with his own eyes the scene of the people on Earth being massacred. A planet that had just embarked on the path of cultivation was almost wiped out. Now the only hope was perhaps himself. The person who should have died had changed his fate, but could he change the fate of the entire Earth? Time always passed very quickly when one returned home. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had already returned to Earth for 2 days. On the last day of his stay on Earth, Lu Chen chose to take Louis shopping and eat delicious food. In the blink of an eye, I'm already 34. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. Who would have thought that he had spent more than 10 years in the Jiutian? Brother, you're not old at all. Look at me, I don't look like I'm 30. Louis happily ate ice cream. Lu Chen smiled. Yes, in the future, everyone's lifespan will increase greatly. If we can become a true immortal, we can jump out of the cycle of reincarnation. Brother, I don't dare to think about things that are so far away. But you've grown so much all of a sudden. I'm not used to standing beside you now. Lu Chen smiled and stroked Lu Yi's hair. No matter what your brother has become, I'll always be your brother. What's there to not get used to? Lu Yi held Lu Chen tightly with one hand and looked at Lu Chen's shoulder. I know, brother. I like domineering brothers like you the most. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. This sister of his would always be the woman he loved the most. Heavenly King Hall of the Purple Heavenly Palace. A man in purple walked into the hall, with a woman. In the high hall, the sound of their footsteps echoed in the hall. On the golden throne in the hall sat a burly man. He had a huge body and was more than 3 meters tall. He sat comfortably on the throne, wearing a beast's skin, revealing his thick arms. This person looked like a half-beast, but he had some characteristics of the demon race. He had a pair of thick, curved purple demon horns on his head. When the two came to the front of the throne, the man in purple cupped his fists and said, Reporting to Purple Knight Emperor, this is the new person we found. Her strength is very terrifying. Purple Knight Son of Heaven frowned slightly. This was the first time he had heard the word, terrifying, from one of his subordinates. His gaze involuntarily fell on the woman. Human. Purple Knight Emperor's expression changed slightly. This woman was from the human race that was known as the trash race. The woman raised her head, revealing her beautiful face. But her beauty didn't match the sinister smile on her lips and her dark purple eyes. I'm not from the human race. I only borrowed this body. Purple Knight Emperor frowned and sat up straight. You're from the ghost race? The ghost race wasn't from the underworld, but they had the ability to take over other people's bodies. The woman smiled but didn't say anything. Others would think that she admitted it. However, Purple Knight Emperor wasn't anyone else. He narrowed his eyes and shouted, Heavenly Eye. Just as he activated his heavenly eye, he was shocked by the scene he saw. You aren't human. Purple Knight Emperor stared at the woman with wide eyes. Wait, could you be? Dark Erosion. Purple Knight Emperor has good taste. The woman had a calm smile on her face. She didn't change her expression because her identity was exposed. Dark Erosion. It can be compared to the demon god defying fate. I finally found someone who can deal with the solipsistic. Hey woman, what's your name? The woman replied, Would Manor Jiao. Chapter 11:17. Jiao of the Wood Mansion. Purple Knight Emperor walked up to Jiao, his eyes full of admiration. It's actually dark corrosion. How many pieces of the dark corrosion chaotic suit have you fused with? 6. Good, that's great. Listen, I don't care what you are. I only want Yifan to die. Jiao sneered. Yifan? Is that the guy who ruined your plans? I'm not interested in such a small character. I'm only interested in solipsistic. You want his life reversing set. Purple Knight Emperor frowned. Don't worry about that. As long as you agree to create conditions for me, I'll agree to join your Purple Sky Palace. Jiao said indifferently. Facing Purple Knight Emperor, she was still arrogant. Purple Knight Emperor didn't care. After all, she wasn't the woman she looked like now. She was dark corrosion. Purple Knight Emperor thought about this deal. The Demonic Academy is in the limelight now. With Zhongxianji's protection, I can't find a chance to make a move. But if solipsistic dies, no one will stop me from killing Yifan. Yes, I agree with your proposal. Jiao, if you need any resources during this time, just tell me. Jiao smiled. Then I won't be polite. Call me when you need to make a move. I'm going to cultivate now. Don't disturb me. With that, Jiao left the hall without looking back. Emperor, is she really dark corrosion? The man in purple asked. Purple Knight Emperor glanced at his subordinate. Yes, she's dark corrosion. I didn't expect dark corrosion to join my Purple Sky Palace. This is all thanks to solipsistic. Haha. Congratulations, Emperor. All of a sudden, Purple Knight Emperor stopped laughing and slapped the top of that person's head. With a muffled sound, the man fell in front of Purple Knight Emperor with eyes full of shock. He didn't even know why he died. Purple Knight Son of Heaven expressionlessly looked at that person's corpse and coldly harumphed. No one can know about this, so I can only kill you. After speaking, he took out a medicinal bottle and spread out corpse powder, disposing of that person's corpse. Men. Purple Knight Emperor shouted. Prepare the teleportation array. I'm going to the heavenly music parlor. During the prodigy competition, Lu Chen had severed the arm of the heavenly music pavilion's disciple, Song Yun, causing him to miss out on the top 50. He did not believe that the heavenly music pavilion did not hold any grudges against Lu Chen. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. He didn't believe that he couldn't defeat the demonic academy if the two forces joined hands. Yi Fan, as long as you kill Solipsistic, let's see who else will protect you. No one from the Violet Sky Palace has been able to escape. Lu Chen returned to the sixth heaven from Earth. His mood was also much better than before. Leaving Jiaoer's matter to the Earth Alliance was definitely more efficient than searching for her like a headless fly. Once he found Jiaoer and settled this matter, he would go to the North Shui family to check on his future brother-in-law. That girl Lu Yi is actually getting married. When Lu Chen came back from the teleportation array, he couldn't help but want to laugh when he thought of this. That girl actually had someone proposing marriage to her. Just as Lu Chen was walking, he suddenly saw a young man walking in the distance while looking at an account book. Yi Fan? Lu Chen finally saw this guy and called him over. Yi Fan, don't you look where you're going? Dean? When did you come back? Lu Chen's face darkened. I came back a few days ago. I've been in a daze all day. What are you doing? Aren't I doing some accounting? Yi Fan was famous for being diligent in earning money. Lu Chen had heard of him. He asked. I remember that when you first came to Godfiend, you owed your senior brother Black Armor Wang 300,000 spirit stones. You've been frugal for more than a year and worked hard to earn money. You should have quite a bit of savings, right? Savings? Dean, I don't have any savings. I just calculated, and now I owe senior brother Black Armor Wang 500,000 spirit stones. Lu Chen almost vomited blood. After working for a year, he owed an additional 200,000 spirit stones? No way. Were you tricked by the Black Armor King? Senior brother shouldn't be scheming against me. At that time, I was about to pay it all back. I lost almost 80,000 spirit stones in the bet. Then I saw that senior brother Black Armor Wang had made a lot of money, so I borrowed some money from him and bought some materials for refining weapons. Now I owe him a total of 500,000 spirit stones. Lu Chen gasped. This silly kid probably wouldn't be able to pay off his debt in this lifetime. Dean Rong said she's willing to lend me money without charging me interest. I think this is a good deal. What do you think? Yi Fan asked very seriously. Lu Chen widened his eyes. Don't borrow from Rong. There's still hope of paying off the spirit stones you owe Black Armor Wang. Don't lose yourself for 500,000 spirit stones. That's not necessary. Lu Chen finally felt compassion for Yi Fan when he saw how poor he was. The academy will soon unseal the mission system. When the time comes, you can go to the 3 hunting zones and sell the items on the monsters. Dean, I don't dare to go too far from the academy. I'm afraid that the people from the Purple Sky Palace will cause trouble and implicate my fellow disciples. Yi Fan finally voiced his concerns. There doesn't seem to be any movement from the Purple Sky Palace now. They are now hindered by the Dean's strength and the development of the divine demons. If I go too far away from the academy, they won't let me go because of their hatred for me. After Yi Fan finished speaking, he raised his head and narrowed his eyes slightly. He said fiercely, they won't let me go, but I won't let them go either. When I have enough strength, I will definitely flatten the Purple Sky Palace. To be honest, when Yi Fan said this, he was completely different from the financial idiot he was. What kind of grudge do you have with the Purple Sky Palace to the extent that you won't rest until you die? Yi Fan looked at Lu Chen. The Dean didn't ask anything at first and forcibly saved him from the Purple Sky Palace. After that, he never asked anything. After such a long time, he had already regarded Lu Chen as his master and friend. At this point, he didn't want to hide it anymore. My Yi family has a mental cultivation method called the Sacred Heart Mantra of Emperor Yi Tian. The palace master of the Purple Sky Palace, Purple Knight Emperor, was injured and was saved by my Yi family. However, he also knew about this mental cultivation method in my family, and coveted it for a long time. When he recovered, he didn't hesitate to slaughter hundreds of people from my Yi family. Fortunately, I mastered the mental cultivation method, and escaped from their evil clutches. Lu Chen clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes were full of hatred. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Yi Fan said it simply, but the experience was too cruel for Yi Fan. His whole family was slaughtered by the person he saved. With such a deep blood feud, it was natural that they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. On the one hand, the Purple Sky Palace wanted to seize the mental cultivation method. On the other hand, they were also afraid that Yi Fan would grow up and seek revenge on them. This was why they repeatedly hunted down Yi Fan. Yi Fan, if you need my help. Yi Fan suddenly raised his hand. Dean, Yi Fan will always remember your kindness to Yi Fan. However, I won't allow anyone else to interfere in the revenge of the annihilation of my family. Lu Chen nodded in understanding. Okay, I won't interfere. I also believe that you will avenge your family one day. Thank you very much, Dean. Chapter 11-18. Recently, the instructors of the Demonic Academy were all busy. The number of people in the Demonic Academy was about to break through 2,000, and they would officially enter the Xingyuan Continent's Academy ranking. Even Lu Chen was asked by a sea of clouds and Etian to understand the ranking. Nameless, the Academy ranking is composed of 4 elements. You have to listen carefully. A sea of clouds said. Oh. Lu Chen sat there obediently and listened. The first part, the student's cultivation level. There's no way around it. The Zhongxiangu will calculate how much it should be. This part accounts for 300 points. The second part, the instructor's theoretical knowledge assessment. This has nothing to do with you. This part accounts for 100 points. The third part, the scale of the academy, accounts for 100 points. Our academy's venue used to be Thoughtless Academy's venue, so it should be the same as Thoughtless Academies. We should be able to get 60 points. The fourth part, the academy's assets. We have just started in this area, so it should be around 30 points. Lu Chen was finally relieved. That doesn't seem to have anything to do with me. When the time comes, I'll just get as much as I want. A sea of clouds shook his head. No, there are 2 more parts. These are related to you. The fifth part, the dean's theoretical assessment and reputation level. A total of 100 points. Your reputation is now famous, so it should be 30 points. The theoretical assessment requires you to participate in the 9 professions basic theories and the 6 heavens basic general knowledge assessment. The points will be calculated according to the results. Ah, there's still an assessment? Lu Chen was shocked. Although he wasn't a bad student, the 9 professions basic knowledge and the 6 heavens basic general knowledge was something a savage like him wouldn't know. If he participated in the assessment, he would definitely die. The last part, the student competition. When the time comes, we will send out a team of students to accept challenges from others. The challengers must be from Immortal Academy. The main thing is to see the Academy's top fighting strength. Because there will be an instructor to lead the team, it will definitely be you. The score for this part is also very high, also 300 points. That's not bad. Fighting is much more humane than taking an exam, Lu Chen said. A sea of clouds continued. In addition, there are also some bonus points, mainly the hunting competition we participated in before, or other branches and so on. Lu Chen nodded. Whether or not he would be given extra points had already been decided. Now the only thing that concerned him was a dean's test and a student's competition. A sea of clouds also knew that Lu Chen's weakness was the assessment. After explaining, he took out a large stack of books and placed them on Lu Chen's desk. These are the basic knowledge of the 9 major professions, the general knowledge of the 6th heaven, the management of the academy, etc. Take a good look at them during this period of time. Lu Chen saw dozens of thick books stacked there, and suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. There's still about a month left. You have to take a good look. Etian exhorted. The other items are either things that can't be changed in a short period of time, or things that we have confidence in. Only your assessment has more room for improvement. The competition between the major academies is very fierce now. A single point difference could mean dozens of places. Seeing that these two people were so nervous, Lu Chen had no choice but to agree. After a sea of clouds and Etion left, Lu Chen hurriedly flipped through the books. Sword Spirit's profession branches, characteristics of spiritual power usage, characteristics of skills, and analysis of combat techniques. Damn, is this a fucking Xinhua dictionary? Why is it so thick? Lu Chen held the book with both hands and suddenly felt fear. This was only the Sword Spirit. There were a total of 9 professions here. Other people started to learn professions from level 10 main cities, and only then did they learn so much. I didn't have a profession from level 1. What the fuck do I know? Forget it, I'm not going to look at it anymore. No matter what my ranking is, I'll just add more points in the future, and my ranking will naturally go up. Lu Chen directly put away the books. He had no intention of continuing to read. However, he didn't dare to tell a sea of clouds and Etion about this. Otherwise, they would definitely lecture him. A month later, the number of people in the Demonic Academy had reached 2,000. The main spirit vein had opened. This was what Lu Chen was most concerned about. What exactly was the thing that had been hibernating near the main spirit vein? It seemed that it would be revealed soon. However, before that, the first thing that the Demonic Academy welcomed was the official entry into the Xingyuan Continent Academy rankings. For any academy, this was a matter of utmost importance. The Demonic Academy was responsible for welcoming the representatives from the major academies of Xingyuan Continent, as well as the representatives from Zhongxiange. However, unlike the other academies, the news of the Demonic Academy entering the rankings had actually spread to other continents. Perhaps it was because the Demonic Academy was too famous, but even the main academies and immortal academies from other continents sent representatives to observe the process of the Demonic Academy entering the rankings. There are so many people from other continents. Some local academies seemed a little nervous. Maybe the Divine Demon Academy is too famous. After all, they took first place in the Prodigy tournament. Many people might not be convinced. The Demonic Academy is so ostentatious. It feels like our Saint Academy is just a small fry. It can't be. The people from the Purple Sky Palace and the Heavenly Music Pavilion are also here? Doesn't the Purple Sky Palace have a grudge with the Demonic Academy? Lu Chen made a few notes and carried them with him. Although he didn't know how many points he would get, the words of a sea of clouds had left a deep impression on him. Every point he could get was a point. After carefully pasting the notes on his sleeve, Lu Chen walked out of the room as if there was no one around. At a glance, he saw that the intentionless mountain was packed with people. Such a big place, but it still seemed crowded. How many people had come this time? At this moment, Xiaozhan suddenly ran over in a hurry. Dean, do you know who's here? Who? Lu Chen looked confused. The Purple Sky Palace. Xiaozhan lowered his voice. They're here too. Ah, the Purple Sky Palace? Yes, I think they might be here for the last round of the competition. Lu Chen snorted coldly. I'd like to see if they dare to cause trouble in the Demonic Academy's territory. Although the Demonic Academy was responsible for hosting, they didn't have the right to stop others from coming to observe. Moreover, Lu Chen wasn't afraid of the Purple Sky Palace. Under the arrangement of a sea of clouds and the others, the martial arts practice field had been temporarily set up for the audience. Now the martial arts practice field was both an open-air venue and an arena. Soon, the Demonic Academy's ranking process began. As the representative of Zhongxiange, Ma Bei was announcing the results of the Demonic Academy. The first round, the level of the students. We have verified the level of the 2020 students reported by the Demonic Academy. After conversion, the final score is 107 points. This round wasn't surprising. The students of the Demonic Academy, as newcomers, weren't of low levels. However, there were too few of them after all. There were just 2,000 of them, so the total score wouldn't be too high. They only got 107 points out of 300 points. The second round, the scale of the Academy, 64 points. The third round, the assets of the Academy, 41 points. A sea of clouds was quite surprised. A month ago, he estimated that the score would be 30 points, but now it was 41 points? Uncle, I made 1 billion in a month. In addition, I temporarily put my personal assets under the name of the academy. They didn't find out. Black Armor King whispered in a Sea of Clouds' ear. A Sea of Clouds looked at Black Armor King in surprise. This guy was indeed a business genius. Chapter 11:19. The next test is the instructor's assessment. All instructors below the director of the Demonic Academy, please come up to the stage to take the test. More than 40 sets of tables and chairs were brought up to the stage, and everyone's name tag was placed on the table. A Sea of Clouds and the others calmly went up to the stage and started writing. Lu Chen's eyes widened when he saw this scene. Was this how the test should be? Taking the test in front of so many people? There were tens of thousands of invigilators. The team of instructors at the Demonic Academy was much larger than before. There were a total of 42 instructors, all of whom were carefully selected by a Sea of Clouds and Etion. They were all very experienced, and this kind of test was not a problem for them at all. After all, when selecting instructors for a Sea of Clouds, Etion had to consider that the instructors who could teach these monstrous students could not be too bad. Half an hour later, someone had already finished answering. 40 minutes later, everyone had finished the test. The people from Zhongxiange went up to the stage to mark the papers, and the results were out in 10 minutes. After Ma Bei and the immortal teachers from Zhongxiange finished tallying the final scores, they announced, "The instructors of the Demonic Academy are indeed amazing. The final score is 97 points. 97 points? That's close to full marks." There was a sudden commotion below the stage. This was not a single person's test, but more than 40 people's scores were calculated together. In the end, they were 3 points away from full marks. There were many very flexible questions here, and they required a very deep understanding of a certain profession to get a high score. No wonder Ma Bei praised the instructors of the Demonic Academy. After a Sea of Clouds stepped down from the stage and sat beside Lu Chen, he was very satisfied with the results. At this moment, he glanced sideways at the director, and saw that the director looked distracted. "Nameless, don't be nervous. The content of this test is very simple." Lu Chen looked at a Sea of Clouds and nodded blankly. Have you read all the books I gave you last time?" "Yes, I have." Lu Chen did take a look when he was making the notes. However, there were too many books. He only copied some from the catalog. He didn't know if he could pass the exam. "It's fine as long as you've read it." A Sea of Clouds heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that this guy hadn't even flipped through the book. Now that the test was over, it was time for the principal's test. Ma Bei also looked at Lu Chen and smiled at Lu Chen. Next, the dean's assessment. Everyone has heard the nameless dean's public lecture before. Although he is an unaffiliated cultivator, his understanding of the major professions has made our eyes light up. He must have seriously studied the basic theories of the major professions to be able to deduce the subversive concept of the 3 major spiritual powers. I believe that many people are looking forward to the performance of the nameless dean. Next, let's welcome the nameless dean to the stage. Lu Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. His 3 major spiritual powers were completely summed up from actual combat. Basic theories? That was basically his blind spot. Alright. The students of the Demonic Academy were unusually excited. The dean can easily get a perfect score. We didn't believe the dean last time and suffered a great loss. This time, I've already bet on the dean getting a perfect score. Whether or not we can go ashore depends on this. We have already understood that we can't use common sense to infer the dean's results. We have to be bold. This time, I've also bet on a perfect score. Lu Chen was rather surprised. Did the Black Armor fatty start a gambling session again? This time, the students had learned their lesson, and didn't dare to look down on the dean anymore. Lu Chen braced himself and walked onto the stage. Ma Bei had a warm smile on his face, and the students of the Demonic Academy below the stage were all cheering for him. Lu Chen was a little regretful that he didn't study properly. "Nameless, please take a seat," Ma Bei said politely. Lu Chen looked at the only table in the martial arts practice field, and walked over to sit down. Ma Bei also followed over. Because everyone wants to see your test paper, we will project your answer process onto the illusion map. Lu Chen's eyes widened. My answer isn't anything interesting. You're really too low-key. Ma Bei looked at Lu Chen as if he had seen through Lu Chen. Sometimes when it's time to be high-profile, it's time to be high-profile. Let the people of the other continents see the power of our Shengyuan continent. Lu Chen's face almost turned sinister. Okay, then I won't disturb you from answering the questions. With that, Ma Bei stepped down from the stage. At the same time, Lu Chen discovered that his figure, together with the test paper, had been magnified dozens of times and was projected onto the illusion map in the air. Fuck! Lu Chen almost collapsed. What kind of special treatment was this? Ma Bei couldn't have known that he had brought a cheat sheet, right? In any case, the answering process had already begun. Lu Chen could only brace himself and examine the questions. The first question was fill in the blanks. Question. The maximum three-dimensional limit of the human body is _______ times the spiritual power, without taking any pills, using any supplementary cultivation methods, or fusing with the bloodline. 2 points? Upon seeing this question, a sea of clouds heaved a sigh of relief. He leisurely said to Yi Tian, who was beside him, I told you that this assessment was very simple. Nameless is the human race, so this question is a freebie. However, Lu Chen was staring at this question and was lost in thought. Under normal circumstances, it should be 3 times, but the question said maximum. His current three-dimensional limit was 30 times the spiritual power. Of course, due to the shortage of the extraction scroll, he didn't fill it up, but the upper limit was still 30 times. He was very sure of this. His physical strengthening was also very simple. He didn't use any pills, cultivation methods, or bloodline fusion. He directly strengthened it through the star core. Therefore, there was only one correct answer. Lu Chen confidently wrote countless times. Beautiful. 2 points. Lu Chen was very sure. A sea of clouds almost fainted. He pulled Yi Tian and said in a trembling voice, Nameless, what did he write? What is it? Is my translation device broken? It's not broken. My translation is also countless times. Yi Tian's face was full of despair. What the hell is countless times? Shouldn't it be 3 times? Did he not read the question clearly? Didn't it say not to use pills and other strengthening methods? A sea of clouds wanted to cry but had no tears. This was definitely written in the book. Yi Tian sighed. The question was specifically marked with brackets. How could he not see it? This guy is so meticulous when fighting. Why is he so unreliable in the exam? Lu Chen was already happily doing the second question. A sea of clouds didn't lie to me. This question is quite simple. Lu Chen went to the second question. The second question was fill in the blanks. Question. When an elemental insulator uses an elemental attack, there are many obstacles. Then the highest elemental affinity of an elemental insulator is _____. 2 points. Lu Chen was already in the zone. After carefully reviewing the question, he was secretly delighted. This question was another free-point question. He himself was an elemental insulator. Why would he still need to ask such a simple question? Lu Chen carefully wrote infinity. The demonic academy was silent. Yi Fan looked at the focused man on the stage in despair. This time he bet 50,000 again. But judging from the current situation, Yi Fan had no choice but to take out his account book and write, If I gamble again in the future, I will chop off my hand. Chapter 11:20. A sea of clouds grabbed Yi Tian with one hand and Long Xiang with the other. Nameless, what are you doing? They said it's an elemental insulator. What do you mean by an elemental insulator? It's an insulator that insulates all kinds of elements. The affinity is 0. Oh my heart, can't take it anymore. Yi Tian was expressionless. The question said that an elemental insulator has an obstacle in increasing affinity with elements. Is that guy blind? Lu Chen found that he was starting to like this test. He had easily scored 4 points in a row. The third question was a multiple-choice question. Question. Among the following methods, Which one is the best for increasing the combat strength of a battle pet? 2.1. Enhance the familiarity between the battle pet and the battle pet in actual combat. 2. The battle pet takes an immortal level beast body pill to increase its attributes. 3. Use an advanced heaven level battle pet skill. 4. Raise the battle pet and let it increase its combat strength on its own. Everyone was stunned when they saw this question. How easy was the test paper that Zhongxingge gave to Nameless? Was it a freebie question? In other words, the Immortal Pavilion definitely wouldn't dare to suppress Lu Chen now. So they changed their way of thinking. It wasn't impossible for them to express their goodwill to Lu Chen. It was reasonable for them to pick a simple test paper and let the Divine Magic Academy's ranking be higher. However, A Sea of Clouds and the others didn't look relaxed at all. I think it's the third option. A Sea of Clouds was a bit uncertain. Long Xiang nodded. It's definitely the third option. The main interference of this question is the second option. Some pills are indeed very effective, but the question said that it's a beast body pill. Then, the increase of attributes should be around 500 points. The advanced battle pet skill in the sky can greatly increase the battle pet's combat strength. Plus, it's highly connected with the master's senses. The effect must be the best. This is without a doubt. Right then, people saw Lu Chen pick up a pen and write down the answer. After careful consideration, he chose 4. As a man who had furry, critter, originator, and rhubarb, Lu Chen believed that nobody knew the correct answer better than he did. Speaking of which, Lu Chen indeed had to choose the fourth option. Junior Originator had been away from him for several years. When he was facing the Puppet Master in the 5th heavenly layer, if not for saving him, Junior Originator could have killed the Puppet Master by himself. Little Beastie, Little Hairy Ball, and Little Originator had been away from him for a few months. After returning from the fallen demon forest, their strength had soared. Through these two incidents, Lu Chen had already deeply realized that free-range cultivation was the root of becoming strong. There was no other option that could be compared to it. This question seems very stupid, but this is where the person who came up with this question is brilliant. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and snorted. Good thing that I have a deep understanding of this question. Otherwise, I would have been misled by you. Lu Chen raised his head and clenched his fists at the Demonic Academy, cheering them on. Yeah, 6 points. The president didn't let you down. Etion and the others in A Sea of Clouds were on the verge of collapsing after seeing how confident Lu Chen was. Where did that guy get his confidence from? I have to hand it to him. I can understand why he chose any of the other 3 options. But he chose free range? If free range cultivation is useful, why would he train his pets every day? Yi Fan moved closer to the mysterious Armor King and asked, Senior brother, did anyone bet that the president would get 0 points? The mysterious Armor King checked the record and found it hard to believe. Someone did? Who? Yi Fan widened his eyes. According to this trend, the person who bet 0 points might make a fortune. Little Beast. The mysterious Armor King and Yi Fan turned around at the same time, looking for Little Beast. Little Beast was sitting behind them. Yi Fan immediately changed seats with his junior brother and sat next to Little Beast. Little Beast, how do you know that the president would get 0 points? Little Beast shrugged. Senior brother, do you even need to think about it? Dad has been a wild man since he was a cultivator. Do you expect him to know these basic theoretical knowledge? Impossible. He only has practical experience, but no theoretical knowledge. Yi Fan frowned. But aren't you afraid that he might get 1 or 2 questions right? I can't rule out this possibility. Little Beast said. But Dad is usually serious. He won't give up and make blind guesses. So, as long as he answers the questions seriously, I think the possibility of getting 0 points is very high. I see. Yi Fan felt that he had been enlightened. Hey, Little Beast, what do you bet on next time? I'll bet with you. Little Beast thought for a while and said, Senior brother Yi Fan, I don't really want to bet with you. You're the kind of person who loses every bet. I'm afraid that my luck can't beat your bad luck. Yi Fan was rejected by the little critter and was directly rejected. As Lu Chen answered more questions, A Sea of Clouds and the others were already used to it. Forget it. I've already said that we shouldn't count on him for this theoretical assessment. Etion was expressionless. A sea of clouds sighed. Hey, as expected of Nameless. I only hope that he can get 2 points in the question and answer. He can't possibly get 0 points. Etion shook his head. You still dare to have hope for that guy? Old C, I'm very sure that he can answer all the questions that you can't think of. Lu Chen's condition was getting better and better, and his answering speed had also increased. Zhongxiangu was obviously biased, but the other academies didn't dare to say anything. Moreover, based on the current situation, it seemed like they didn't need to raise any objections. Lu Chen didn't disappoint, and answered all of them wrong. It was already the last question. It was still the only question and answer. Question. As the dean, while you pay attention to the students' cultivation, you also need to care about the students' personal lives. So, if your academy became enemies with a force that was several times stronger than your academy and wanted to kill your students, as the dean, how would you deal with it? 7 points. Faced with such a technical question, Lu Chen put down his pen. He crossed his arms over his chest and rested his chin on his other hand, deep in thought. At this moment, the Demonic Academy's disciples also looked at Lu Chen. They didn't know if this question was intentional by Zhongxiangu, because the Demonic Academy was currently facing this problem. Even if the Demonic Academy's disciples didn't know the reason for the hatred between Yi Fan and the Purple Sky Palace, they knew that it was such a thing. Seeing Lu Chen's thoughtful look, a sea of clouds seemed to see a glimmer of hope again. This question is Nameless' current problem. As long as you write a little bit, you should be able to get some points. In a corner of the audience area, a strong man leaned back in his chair and smiled slightly after seeing this question. He snorted coldly. So Zhongxiangu is doing this to reconcile the conflict between the Purple Sky Palace and the Demonic Academy? Humph, how naive. Well, I'd like to see how Nameless will answer, and how you will show weakness to the Purple Sky Palace. No matter how Lu Chen dealt with it, it would prove that the Demonic Academy was showing weakness. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly and kept staring at this question. As the dean, how should he deal with it? The word deal was used very well. Did this kind of thing need to be dealt with? This should be another attempt by the person who set the question to mislead him. After guessing the intention of the person who set the question, Lu Chen picked up his pen and wrote down the answer in front of everyone. The disciples of our academy are rewarded and punished by the Demonic Academy. If any force dares to touch the disciples of the Demonic Academy, as the dean, I will naturally flatten them. Chapter 11:21. At this moment, the disciples of the Demonic Academy suddenly forgot about the dean's score. Everyone's eyes were filled with determination. That's right, this was the dean of the Demonic Academy. Sometimes he was a little silly, but when it came to matters involving the students, he would not back down at all. Sure enough, this is the dean's answer. As arrogant as ever. Xiaozhan smiled. So even if he gets a 0, I, Xiaozhan, am convinced by this guy. Crazy enough. Did you see that? This is the dean of our Demonic Academy. I've only heard of the dean's deeds before, but now I finally understand why the nameless dean can be admired by the whole academy even though he's just a newcomer. A newcomer took a deep breath. I'm honored to be a disciple of the divine demon. A sea of clouds suddenly felt relieved. He smiled helplessly and shook his head. Nameless, this guy is really lovable and hateful. He's probably going to get a 0 again. Etion smiled. So what if he gets a 0? I'm not counting on him anyway. But what a good trample until you flatten. It makes my old bones feel a little excited. Little Beast secretly glanced at Yi Fan, and saw that guy actually put down his account book and stared blankly at the dean with tears in his eyes. Obviously, this was not just the answer that Lu Chen wrote on the paper. He had been doing this all along. In the audience, Purple Knight Emperor narrowed his eyes slightly. He did not expect Nameless to answer like this. This was obviously a warning to the Purple Sky Palace. If they dared to touch Yi Fan, Nameless would trample the Purple Sky Palace. Very well, I'd like to see if you have the ability. Lu Chen finally finished answering. When he stood up, he saw the excited expressions of the students. From the expressions of these guys, Lucien was sure that his score would not be bad. Mabe, I'm done with the exam. Mabe walked in front of Lucien, trembling with fear. It's not time for the exam yet. Are you sure you don't want to check? No need, Lucien said confidently. The questions for this exam are very simple. It's easy to answer them. Mabe's face darkened. It's easy for you to answer, but have you considered Zhongxiange? This time, in order to come up with a question for Lucien, how many brain cells did they use? They tried their best to come up with questions that Lucien would know. Or more accurately, questions that they thought Lucien would know. They were all familiar with each other. If Zhongxiange had really set such difficult questions and let Nameless, a savage, do badly in front of everyone, what would happen if Nameless held a grudge? In the end, he didn't even get a single question right. Why don't you check again? There's really no need. I'm very confident about this exam. Mabe was under a lot of pressure. Who gave this guy such confidence? Now the problem was on Zhongxiange's side. Could they announce that Nameless got a 0 on the spot? The key was that this guy felt so good about himself. If they really announced it, Nameless would be embarrassed, and Zhongxiange would not have a good ending. However, no matter how difficult it was for Zhongxiange, they had to announce the results now. Mabe's expression was difficult, and he did not dare to look at Lucien's expectant eyes. Nameless, go back to your seat first. Mabe felt that he might be in danger if he stayed by his side. Lucien did not think much and walked off the stage. When he came in front of a sea of clouds, Lucien's face was full of pride. Old Sea, how was my performance? A sea of clouds held it in for a long time, and finally squeezed out a word. Good. Lanji looked at a sea of clouds' red face and laughed out loud. It was really hard for a sea of clouds to say something like that. Mabe announced the final results. Nameless Director's reputation score is 20 points. The exam results are 2 points. Hearing this result, 2 people from the Demonic Academy stood up at the same time. Lucien and Little Beastie. Lucien questioned loudly. How can it be 2 points? Which question did I get wrong? You must have made a mistake. Little Beastie also questioned loudly. How can it be 2 points? The last question is obviously a negative example. How can Zhongxiange give out a score blindly? My dad definitely should have gotten a 0. When Lucien heard that, he looked back strangely. Little Beastie, what did you say? Dad. Little Beastie saw Lucien and quickly shrank back. This was the only person who could make him behave. Wait, don't tell me you placed a bet. Lucien narrowed his eyes slightly. Little Beastie was scared. Dad, the living expenses you gave me are too little. If you want a bet, so be it. You actually bet that I got a 0? Dad, I just wanted to win some money. Little Beastie muttered. Hey, you little brat. I'll teach you a lesson when we get back. Lucien did not have time to care about him now. He still had to reason with Mabe. When a sea of clouds and the others saw this, they hurriedly pulled Lucien back. Forget it. Director, didn't we get 2 points? Director, please don't be angry. Actually, your answers are wrong. Lucien was pulled back by a group of people. What wrong? My answers are correct. No, let go of me. I want to have a good talk with Mabe. There are so many people. Director, forget it. Mabe was not stupid. If Nameless rushed over, he would definitely be embarrassed. Seeing that a sea of clouds and the others were helping, he quickly announced the next assessment. That it's getting late. Let's quickly move on to the next round. The last round, the student competition. Let's invite the 5 students and 1 instructor from the Demonic Academy to the stage. After the competition begins, other academies can challenge them. You are not allowed to use soul-body fusion during the competition. Try not to injure others. In the end, we will score according to the performance of the Demonic Academy. After that, Mabe hurried over to Lucien. Lucien was still blocked by a group of people. Now that Mabe was here, he was even more agitated. Mabe, tell me clearly. Why do I only get 2 points? Mabe walked in front of him and whispered. Nameless, stop messing around. If you don't believe me, ask a sea of clouds if your answers are wrong. What's wrong? You are the ones who are wrong. John Doe, just take it that you're giving me some face. This is the conclusion of so many years. What do you mean by many years? If I say it's wrong, it's wrong. If you don't believe me, I will prove it to you. Seeing that Lu Chen was still unwilling to give up, Ma Bei really had no choice. If you are really unhappy, I will send you a few more spiritual magic treasures later. The level is not lower than the rewards from the big hunting competition. Lu Chen suddenly quieted down. And spiritual magic treasures? Demonic Academy's secondary spiritual vein seemed to be a little thin recently, but the Academy had not opened the mission system yet. Lu Chen was wondering if he should get some beast cores to support him for a while. If there were spiritual magic treasures, the effect would definitely be different. Tell me clearly, how many do you want? 2. Ma Bei was a little unconfident. Nameless, this guy was definitely insatiable. 10. Give me 10 spiritual magic treasures, and I will admit defeat. Oh, and also send 4 Four Seasons Rui bottles. In my great hall of gods and devils, there is only the pair you sent last time. It feels a little monotonous. Ma Bei sucked in a breath of cold air. This guy was really greedy. But Nameless got the lowest score in history in front of so many people, he would definitely not let it go. Well, the Immortal Senior said that he should try to win over Nameless. After all, the Demonic Academy's future achievements were limitless. Besides, he could not let Nameless continue to make trouble like this. If he really turned hostile, who could stop him? Ma Bei endured the heartache. Okay, I will send someone to send it over. Quickly bring the disciples to the stage. The disciples' challenge is about to begin. Chapter 11:22. After reaching an agreement with Ma Bei, Lu Chen finally behaved himself. 10 Spirit Source magic treasures and 4 Four Seasons wishfuls. It was a good deal. Since Zhongxian Gu was willing to pay, Lu Chen had to give them some face. He stood up and said to the people behind him, Yi Fan Xiaozhan Chu Tian Wuxian Skyfall, let's go. Little Beast was not going. After all, this guy was actually Lu Chen's battle pet. He was doing well in the academy now, so he could continue to do so for now. The mentor candidate was Lu Chen himself. The 6 of them walked up to the arena together. A sea of clouds looked at the backs of these people and said to Yi Tian, Oldie, those 5 kids are much stronger than they were a year ago. Yes, these 5 kids are all rare geniuses. Yi Fan seems to have a lot of debt, but it didn't affect his improvement. It seems that he's already at the 3-star level of Theo the Great. I don't know how he did it. A sea of clouds nodded. No wonder the Purple Sky Palace didn't want to let him go. If this kind of genius is given some time to grow, he'll be a completely different person in the future. Little Beast didn't go. Yi Tian said. This time, the top 5 of the arena were arranged. It seems that the dean didn't want Little Beast to fight in the arena. He said that he was afraid that the arena would be destroyed. A sea of clouds nodded. That was true. Little Beast had its father to protect it, so it didn't need to compete with others for resources. The previous theory exam was not interesting. When they saw the dean of the Demonic Academy bring the 5 strongest students up to the arena, the audience went wild. These are the 5 strongest of the Divine Devil Academy's geniuses? It said that they all received invitations from Immortal Academy. The 5 strongest students are uncertain. They should be the top 5 on the Celestial and Demonic rankings. The Demonic Academy is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Some people don't care about the arena rankings. The Celestial Demon Leaderboard. Speaking of which, I heard that the exchange students from the other academies can no longer enter the top 300. Even those who have cultivated for several years can't enter. Yes, the Celestial Demon list is the most terrifying list in Prosperous Origin continent. To be able to rank in the top 5 on that list, his strength is already very terrifying. Since this was a competition that was related to the ranking of the academies that had just entered the rankings were all newly established academies. Thus, the challengers were also limited by the number of years they had been in the academy. However, the restrictions would be relatively relaxed. As long as they were disciples who had been in the academy for less than 20 years, they could challenge them. He had been in the school for 20 years, so he was definitely not a newcomer. However, From the looks of Yi Fan and the others, they were standing in front of Lu Qin without any signs of fear. In order to conserve the energy of both sides, the celestial and demonic academies couldn't be challenged by just one academy. According to the rules, Zhongxiange would give out several challengers of different levels. They were the ordinary academies, the sacred academies, and the immortal academies. If there was a main academy, other forces would also appear in the list of challengers. The demonic academy would have to choose one academy to challenge. The demonic academy would gain a certain amount of points for every victory they won. The points would be determined by the strength of the opponent they chose. During the challenge, each side would send out a disciple to compete in a single move. The winner could choose to continue the challenge or give up on the next battle. They could rest for a while and continue the next battle. The loser would lose the opportunity to challenge. After all 5 students were defeated, the other 5 would all be revived. At that time, they could challenge at the same time or take turns to challenge their own teachers. In the end, defeating the teacher would be the final condition for victory. Soon, Zhongxiange gave out the list of the first batch of challengers. The first group of challengers is the North Star Immortal Academy, the Heavenly Brilliance Sacred Academy, and the Martial Arts Academy. The Demonic Academy, please choose your challengers. Lu Qin didn't even think about it. He directly said, the North Star Immortal Academy. Yi Fan and the others weren't surprised at all. It would be strange if the dean didn't choose the Immortal Academy. Dean, you should rest well. You probably won't have a chance to fight, Chu Tian said. Lu Qin frowned. The opponent is the Immortal Academy. Are you sure you can win? Xiao Zhan chuckled. Dean, we're much stronger than before. Lu Qin snorted. The Immortal Academy isn't weak either. Don't be so sure. On the other side of the arena, the people from the North Star Immortal Academy went up on stage. They were very excited that the Demonic Academy had chosen them. They chose our North Star Immortal Academy right away. How interesting. Everyone says that the Demonic Academy is powerful. I, North Star Tianqi, am here to experience it for myself. One of the disciples was especially excited. A middle-aged man behind him said, we signed up for the challenge this time, so that you can exchange blows with Nameless. Now that we know he's the one who killed the King of Hell, I don't expect you to win, but at least make him fight with all his strength. This man actually knew that it was Lu Qin who killed the King of Hell. It seemed like he was quite well informed. Tianqi hurriedly restrained his attitude and cupped his fists at the man. Yes, Martial Uncle Moyen. We've all seen Nameless' performance in the Prodigy competition. He's just SOSO. How can he kill the King of Hell with this kind of strength? I really don't know if the rumors are true. We'll definitely make him fight with all his strength and make him understand his own strength. Not long after, the people from the North Star Immortal Academy stood opposite the Demonic Academy. Moyen took a step forward. Yi Fan and the others directly dissed Lu Qin. Nameless Dean, I'm Moyen, a cultivation instructor of the North Star Immortal Academy. Please enlighten me. Lu Qin saw that he was quite polite and cupped his fists in return. I don't dare to enlighten you. It's just a spar. At this moment, Tianqi said to Yi Fan, hey, Nameless on the other side. Geniuses from all over the world gathered here. You gods and devils really boast shamelessly. Do you know who I am? I can defeat all 5 of you by myself. Nameless, I'd like to see if you're as powerful as the rumors say. Yi Fan frowned slightly. This guy purposely used Nameless to describe gods and devils. One had to know that the dean was Jiao, Nameless. Clearly he did it on purpose. He even directly called the dean by his name. This made Yi Fan burn with anger. North Star Immortal Academy has the nerve to hoot here? Don't you know that I still have the invitation letter from North Star Immortal Academy in my bag? Yi Fan purposely sighed heavily. Luckily, I didn't go to your North Star Immortal Academy. I can tell how strong you are just by looking at the faces of your students. You're just a mere student, but your eyes are already growing on top of your head. It seems like your horizons are only SO. Yi Fan wasn't good at interacting with girls. He gambled and lost every time he gambled. He didn't look like he spoke much normally, but when it came to talking, he wouldn't lose to others. Aya, what a coincidence. Junior brother Yi, I've also received an invitation from North Star Immortal Academy. They said that as long as I go, they'll definitely focus on training me. Wuxian was even more ruthless. He directly took out an invitation letter from his bag. It was from North Star Immortal Academy. Xiao Zhan rummaged in his bag for a long time. Finally, he took out one from the large stack of invitation letters. AI, are you talking about this? I have one too. Senior brother Chu, junior brother Skyfall. Do you have one too? Chu Tian shook his head. It sounds a little familiar, but I don't remember. Skyfall frowned. What are you keeping this for? You threw all mine away. This time, the people from North Star Immortal Academy were completely speechless. Out of the 5 people from Demonic Academy, 2 of them actually took out an invitation letter from North Star Immortal Academy. It was even sealed with golden paper. They were clearly people who were focused on training. He was still feeling proud of his status as a disciple of North Star Immortal Academy, but all of them rejected North Star Immortal Academy's invitation. Chapter 11:23. All of you deserve to die. Tian's eyes widened in anger as he activated the toxic tyrant body. His body was surrounded by a thick green mist. Who among the 5 of you will come out and die first? Yi Fan's group of 5 looked at each other and gathered together to discuss. Senior brother, let me fight Beichen, Wuxian said. My 5-colored spiritual energy has just leveled up. I want to test its actual power. Let me do it. I just don't like this Tiansu, Xiaozhan said. You two stop arguing. Senior brother Chu will arrange it, Skyfall said. Apart from Grey Crow and the others, Chu Tian was the senior brother of the Demonic Academy. At this time, he still had to listen to his senior brother's arrangements. Chu Tian thought for a moment and said, It's the same no matter who goes up. How about this? We'll go up one by one according to the arena's ranking. Wuxian, you're currently 5th, so you go up first. Remember to teach that Tiansu a lesson. Wuxian smiled. Don't worry, senior brother. After a short discussion, Wuxian became the first student from the Demonic Academy to go on stage. The others retreated for the time being. Wuxian stood in front of Tiansu and looked at him coldly. Immortal Academy's 20th year student? Very good. 5-colored mystic energy. Wuxian shouted. Immediately, 5-colored spiritual energy surged out from his body. You want to see Ardeen? Your Beichen really dares to dream. Ardeen isn't someone a frog at the bottom of a well, like you has the right to mention. Arrogant to the extreme. Die. Tiansu was furious. With a flash, he appeared in front of Wuxian. Poison Sovereign, 10,000 poison withering. Heart-devouring fist. Tiansu was a martial artist and poison master dual cultivator. He added poison to his fist technique. Therefore, even though he used 2 techniques, it was only one move. Facing the horrifying toxic palm wind that crushed over like toppling mountains and overturning seas, Wuxian was not the slightest bit afraid. 5-colored mystic energy. 5 elements returned to ruin. Along with Wuxian's punch, 5-colored spiritual energy erupted and collided with the heart-devouring palm. 2 thick strands of spirit energy abruptly collided. The ancient withering and 5-colored profound energy madly collided, and it was like 2 ferocious tigers wrestling. In the entire arena, violent gales pressed towards the center of the arena. After a full 4 to 5 seconds, the 2 of them were actually evenly matched. When the crowd saw the 2 of them in a stalemate, they were all shocked. Demonic Academy's Wuxian is so strong. Actually comparable to a 20-year disciple from Immortal Academy? That's not all. Tiansu is the strongest in the Beichen cohort, yet he can't kill a first-year rookie? What exactly is that 5-colored profound chi? I've never heard of it. What kind of monsters are the students of the Demonic Academy? If I remember correctly, Tiansu should be the 5-star Theo the Great, right? As a genius student from Immortal Academy, he should also have extremely powerful ability to fight above his level. Yet he actually couldn't instantly kill Wuxian. However, Tiansu's cultivation level is higher, which means that his spiritual energy is stronger. If this continues, he should still be able to win. Right at this time, a huge change suddenly occurred on the battlefield. The five-colored profound qi around Wuxian's body suddenly merged into black spiritual energy. At this moment, Tianzi suddenly discovered that the power of the other party's punch instantly increased several times, as if the other party's spiritual energy suddenly exploded. As soon as he realized this, he didn't have time to make any adjustments before his entire body flew out like a cannonball, fiercely smashing into a meditation pavilion outside the martial arena. Hong! The meditation pavilion was directly blasted through. Beichen Immortal Academy's people hurriedly went to search, and finally brought Tianzi back from the ruins. At this time, Tianzi's face was already green, most likely caused by the ancient withering. At the same time, his entire body was riddled with wounds. His right arm was broken, and the bone pierced through the skin from his elbow. His entire body was on the verge of collapse. Not good, senior brother was injured by his own poison. Quick Snow Lotus Pill. That disciple shouted loudly. Mo Yin hurriedly walked up, stuffing a pill into Tianzi's mouth. Only then did Tianzi slowly recover. Right now, he looked at Wuxian in horror, unable to say anything for a long time. Wuxian coldly snorted. Didn't you say you wanted to fight 1 against 5? How come you can't even beat one of me? Do you know how childish you are now? Tianzi was so angry his entire body was shaking, but in front of reality, it was already useless no matter what he said. Beichen Immortal Academy's disciples were also horrified. One had to understand that their battle tactics were completely opposite of gods and devils. The first person they sent out was their most powerful senior brother Tianzi, all for the sake of getting rid of those 5 disciples as quickly as possible, forcing Nameless to make a move. However, Tianzi was directly crushed. How is this possible? My senior brother has cultivated an Immortal Academy for 19 years, so why can't he beat a newcomer who just entered the academy for a year? The disciple supporting Tianzi said angrily. Wuxian couldn't be bothered to reply, but Chu Tian and the others behind him didn't stop. Wuxian has become stronger again. Speaking of which, after returning from the netherworld, he's been cultivating even harder than before, not even participating in the arena. That guy's 5-colored profound energy is indeed unpredictable, having the effect of devouring, even able to devour Tianzi's poison. He really is so powerful. If I fought him with my full strength, it really might not be certain who would win. Dean, what do you think of junior brother Wuxian's performance? Xiao Zhan turned around to look at Lu Qin, only to see that their dean wasn't watching the competition at all, his eyes staring at the destroyed meditation pavilion, as if it was a bomb that could explode at any time. Xiao Zhan hurriedly shrunk his neck. It's fine. A single fist destroyed a meditation pavilion. This made Lu Chen's heart ache endlessly. It was another great loss. Right now, they were in the middle of a competition, so he could only temporarily endure it. Wuxian, this guy, every time he fought, he would destroy buildings. Once this ranking matter was settled, he had to send Wuxian to the other academies for an exchange. Wuxian looked indifferently at the people from the North Star Immortal Academy. Don't waste time. Next. In the spectator area, a sea of clouds shook his head and said to Etian, "This is bad. These guys are really becoming more and more like the dean. I reckon that if it weren't for the rules, Wuxian would want to fight 5 of them alone." Etian could not help but laugh. There's nothing we can do about it. Who asked John Doe to be like that? Furthermore, these brats are geniuses to begin with. Now that they're following John Doe, it's difficult for them to keep a low profile. The other dean's eyes were already red. Oh my, what a good seedling this is. Why didn't he come to our academy? If we had such an outstanding disciple, we would definitely rise up in a few years. Comparisons are odious. A super genius like Wuxian, the demonic academy has a bunch of them. Why did I come to watch a competition between gods and demons? I'm so hungry I'm crying. A first-year newcomer defeated a 20-year disciple of the Immortal Academy. A disciple like Wuxian, placed in any academy, would be a hot commodity. It would be strange if they weren't jealous. The competition was still ongoing. Divine Might Sword Shadow. Using a sword? I can do that too. 5 elements void, Sword of Void. Wuxian defeated another person. Dust Breaking, Painless Palm. 5 colors profound qi, 5 elements return to ruins. defeated another person. Not long after, the 5 from the North Star Immortal Academy were all defeated. Wuxian looked at the 5 North Star Immortal Academy disciples on the ground and said indifferently, "In front of gods and demons, you still dare to feel superior? Remember, in the future, when you see gods and demons, lower your head and walk." Chapter 11:24. An academy that didn't even have a ranking actually dared to speak to a mortal academy like this. This was unprecedented in the 6th heaven. In the final battle, Wu Xian's group of 5 fought against Mo Yan, and Mo Yan chose to forfeit. Mo Yan's strength was still very strong. As an instructor of a mortal academy, he was already in the human king realm. As an instructor of a mortal academy, his purpose was to let the students exchange blows with Nameless. Who would have thought that before he could even meet the Nameless, he would be defeated by Wu Xian alone? If the competition continued, even if he won, it would already be meaningless for Immortal Academy. Lu Chen frowned slightly. "Your Excellency, are you not going to exchange blows with my 5 disciples?" "Nameless Dean, my Immortal Academy has been rude. We forfeit the final battle." Mo Yan cupped his fists and said, "Congratulations to Nameless Dean. The Demonic Academy has passed the first round." Mo Yan could be considered to have retreated in order to advance. He had more or less saved the Immortal Academy's face. Since the other party had admitted defeat, Lu Chen didn't insist. After the first battle, the Demonic Academy obtained 100 points. They obtained full marks in this round. In the second battle, a challenger from Immortal Academy appeared. Lu Chen decisively chose Immortal Seeking Pavilion. Among the disciples of Immortal Seeking Pavilion, the person with the highest level had already reached 7 stars of Theo the Great. One had to know that at this level he could already become an instructor in an ordinary academy. Moreover, most instructors were old and frail. However, that disciple of Theo the Great was in the prime of his life. He still had a lot of room for improvement. This was the biggest difference between the two. This battle was fought by Skyfall, who was ranked 4th on the demonic god list. The Skyfall sword in Skyfall's hand was more powerful than Wu Xian's 5-colored profound energy. It was hard to say who was stronger, but Skyfall's sword was clearly more direct. Unfortunately, the opponent's strength was too strong. Skyfall's moves were powerful, but they also consumed a lot of energy. After defeating 2 people, he didn't have enough spiritual energy. In order to preserve his strength, Xiao Zhan continued the battle. Xiao Zhan made his move and once again shocked the crowd. He won 3 rounds in a row. The leader of the Immortal Seeking Pavilion was much more polite than the one from the Northern Star Immortal Academy. He cupped his fists and said to Lu Chen, "Nameless Dean, the Demonic Academy is indeed filled with dragons and crouching tigers. These disciples have only been in the academy for a year, yet they already have such strength. It really makes one envious." Lu Chen faintly smiled. Since others were being polite, he was also being polite. "Senior Lianxi, you flatter me." It was only a single move, so it can't be considered a winner. Lianxi nodded with a smile. His good friend He Xing, the pavilion master of the celestial fortress Tianya Pavilion, had always told him that if he was polite to Nameless during a challenge, he would be polite to him. He was right. Nameless arrogance, but that was because others didn't understand him. He had single-handedly killed the king of hell, yet he had never mentioned it to anyone. This was the exact opposite of arrogance. Rather than arrogance, it would be better to say that he was casual. "Nameless Dean, I don't think it's necessary to compete in the last round. The disciples of the Divine Demon Academy have already proven their strength," Lianxi said with a smile. "Here, let me congratulate you for winning the second round." "Thank you." Lu Chen faintly smiled. "Nameless brother, if you have time in the future, you are welcome to come to the Southern Fortress continent and exchange ideas with our academy." "The Southern Fortress continent? Okay, I'll visit when I have time." Lu Chen readily agreed. The Demonic Academy had already won 2 rounds in a row and obtained 220 points. Among them, the second round was an additional 20 points. If they could win the third round, they might break through the upper limit of 300 points. And the challenger of the third round, the Fanqing Immortal Academy, would meet the two strongest disciples of the demonic academy, Yi Fan and Chu Tian. The two had already discussed that Chu Tian would fight 3 rounds, and Yi Fan would fight 2. The strongest disciple of the Fanqing Immortal Academy was the 6-star Theo the Great. His strength was not bad. Everyone had cultivated for around 20 years, so he was at least 1 star higher than Tian Su. However, in the face of the two freaks, Chu Tian and Yi Fan, the Fanqing Immortal Academy had no chance to fight back. After 3 rounds, Chu Tian was still not satisfied. He even spent 10,000 spiritual stones to buy another round from Yi Fan. As a result, the strongest disciple of the Divine Demon Academy, Yi Fan's only opponent turned out to be the weakest disciple of the Fanqing Immortal Academy. The match was even more boring. Yi Fan defeated his opponent with 1 move. There was no suspense. The opposing instructor could not believe that his student was so weak. A dignified Immortal Academy was beaten to a pulp by a newly established academy. This was unheard of in the 6th layer of heaven. Just as he was thinking about whether he should go up and fight, he saw Lu Chen stretch. Lu Chen was too bored. He had been standing in the arena for almost an hour without doing anything. It was not as fulfilling as the dean's assessment. Lu Chen walked up and cupped his fists at the opposing instructor. "Friend, this is the last round. I think you should not forfeit the instructor round. Let's just treat it as a friendly competition. How about it?" That person frowned and looked at Lu Chen. "Nameless Dean, are you saying that you want your disciple to challenge me?" "No, it's just a friendly competition. I will challenge you. After all, we are both instructors. This way no one will lose face." That person immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. This guy did not play by the rules. He wanted to go up himself. How could there be such a leader? However, when he thought about the strange demonic academy, it seemed that this kind of thing was reasonable. Nameless Strength was said to be one of the peak 6th layer of heaven. Although he was in the human king realm, he still had some self-awareness. I don't think it's necessary. Today is a joyous day for your academy. We are only here to compare notes. Since your disciples have already proven their strength, there is no point in continuing the competition. That person hurriedly said. "Congratulations, Nameless Brother, for passing 3 rounds in a row. One of them is the main academy. I think the final result should be bonus points. We will not disturb you." After saying that, that person quickly left the arena with the 5 injured disciples. Lu Chen looked at the other person's back and helplessly shook his head. "Dean, don't look. He doesn't want to fight with you." Xiaozhan walked to Lu Chen and said, "Why did you jump out for no reason?" I saw that person's expression. He originally said that he would have a chance to fight with him, but he was scared away by you. Lu Chen glared at Xiaozhan. "Don't you feel bored standing here for 1 or 2 hours? I told you to let a few people come over, but you didn't listen to a single one of them," Wuxia said with a smile. He was the happiest person. After all, he was the only one who had completed all 5 rounds. "Dean, how can we trouble you with such matters?" Lu Chen snorted coldly. "You still have the cheek to speak? Did Repose Pavilion offend you? Every time you fight, you won't fight without destroying a few buildings, right?" At the mention of Repose Pavilion, Wuxian immediately cowered and hid behind his senior brothers. Ma Bei walked over with a smile. "Nameless Brother, I'm really envious of you. The quality of Godfiend disciples is too high. You won all 3 rounds. Let me announce the results." Ma Bei stood on the stage. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly saw a team walk over. The person in the lead was nearly 4 meters tall and extremely burly. Behind him were 5 disciples, 4 men and 1 woman. All of them were dressed in purple robes. Seeing these 6 people, Ma Bei was suddenly stunned. Not only Ma Bei, but everyone from the Demonic Academy was also stunned. Purple Heavenly Palace. At this moment, Lu Chen's mind was completely blank. He didn't recognize the other 5 people, but he recognized the only woman in the opposing team at a glance. Zhu. Lu Chen's eyes widened in disbelief. The man in the lead slowly walked over with the team while laughing heartily. "Ha ha ha, the Demonic Academy is indeed powerful. Even the main academy's Immortal Academy could easily defeat them. It's just that this kind of small fight is really boring to watch. Since that's the case, I believe that Nameless Dean wouldn't mind an additional round. Let's do something exciting. Chapter 11:25. Purple Knight Son of Heaven. Yi Fan stared at the man and said fiercely, "It's the Purple Sky Palace." Xiao Zhan and company also recognized the other party's identity. Lu Chen kept staring at the woman behind Purple Knight Son of Heaven with her head lowered. The woman lowered her head slightly, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. She stared at Lu Chen as though she was staring at her prey. Lu Chen was very sure that the woman was Jiao. However, there was only excitement in Jiao's eyes. She looked more like a stranger. Dark erosion. Lu Chen muttered. Did Jiao not recognize him at all? Could it be that dark erosion had completely possessed her consciousness? Jiao had already reached the sixth firmament? But why was she in the Purple Sky Palace? Purple Knight Son of Heaven walked in front of Lu Chen and company before stopping. He looked at Lu Chen with a faint smile. Nameless, we finally meet. Lu Chen retracted his gaze and looked at Purple Knight Son of Heaven. Are you Purple Knight Son of Heaven from the Purple Sky Palace? That's right. Purple Knight Son of Heaven smiled. Speaking of which, your performance just now left a deep impression on me. Someone touched your Godfiend disciple, and you want to flatten the other party's faction? What a coincidence. I was just about to kill Yi Fan. I wonder if you have the ability to flatten my Purple Sky Palace? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. The other party clearly had ill intentions. However, he didn't mention Jiao. Regardless of whether Jiao was completely controlled by the dark erosion, Jiao no longer had any memories of herself. If he said this first, it would be used by Purple Knight Prince. Ma Bei looked at the two groups of people. Everyone's eyes were filled with killing intent. He had no choice but to stop Lu Chen and say, Nameless, you can reject their challenge. You have already passed the student competition with full marks. Purple Knight Son of Heaven said impatiently, Ma Bei, have you forgotten? If anyone is dissatisfied with the results of the Demonic Academy's competition, they can issue a challenge. Ma Bei said, you can issue a challenge, but the Demonic Academy can also reject your challenge. Refuse? Purple Knight Emperor said disdainfully. Nameless, if you really refuse, wouldn't it be inconsistent with your previous answer? Could it be that you're also someone who only knows how to talk? Lu Chen coldly snorted. I don't need you to tell me who I am. At this moment, Jiao took a step forward and coldly said, Nameless, do you dare to make things a bit bigger? I want to kill you. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes as he looked at Jiao's purple-brown eyes. This woman's beauty hadn't diminished, but her purple-brown eyes made her tranquil beauty even more demonic. However, Lu Chen was still certain that she was Jiao. However, judging from her tone and actions, she was no longer the Jiao he knew. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Chen thought of Muxian. He had promised Muxian that he would help Jiao. He also thought of the few encounters he had with Jiao. However, who would have thought that a few years later, Jiao would actually meet him with such an identity? Finally, Lu Chen spoke. How do you want to compete? Purple Knight Emperor sneered. Nameless, you know that I will definitely kill Yi Fan. As for my disciple, she is also very interested in you, so the previous spar was not interesting at all. If you want to compete, it will naturally be a battle of life and death. A battle of life and death? When many people heard this, they understood that the Purple Sky Palace wasn't really here to challenge. They were here to kill. Ma Bei really couldn't ignore it this time. He said sternly to Purple Knight Emperor, Purple Knight, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're from the Purple Sky Palace. This is the prosperous origin continent, and I, Zhongxian, have the final say here. Purple Knight Emperor's gaze also became sharp. If it weren't for Zhongxian's obstruction, how could he have let Yi Fan live until now? Ma Bei, do you really think that the Purple Sky Palace is afraid of you, Zhongxian? If you dare to obstruct the Purple Sky Palace's business again, I don't mind falling out with you. Ma Bei was not afraid at all. He could tolerate Lu Chen's wool polishing, which was a small matter, but he couldn't tolerate anyone running amok in the prosperous origin continent. This was Zhongxian's territory. If the Purple Sky Palace was allowed to do as they pleased here, Zhongxiangu would lose face in all the major academies, and even in all the continents. This was what Zhongxiangu couldn't tolerate the most. Purple Knight, I'm warning you for the last time. If you dare to continue causing trouble, I, Zhongxiangu, will definitely not sit idly by. Although the Purple Sky Palace is powerful, it's not powerful enough to run amok. Purple Knight sneered. Ma Bei, don't worry. You, Zhongxiangu, have repeatedly ruined my plans. I didn't say that I would settle this score with you. Just as Ma Bei and Purple Knight were about to give way to each other, Lu Chen suddenly said, Purple Knight, it seems that you came prepared. So what? Who asked the Nameless Dean to be so famous? Why, our Nameless Dean, could it be that you're afraid? Purple Knight deliberately said in a strange tone. Lu Chen thought for a moment and said, Today is the day that I joined the Divine Demon rankings. I don't want to see blood. Besides, if I want to fight, I won't fight with you here. Although Lu Chen was anxious to save Jiao, or this was not the right place. If Jiao had been controlled by the dark erosion, then her current strength was very likely far beyond Yi Fan and the others. If they wanted to follow the rules of the competition, and let Yi Fan and the others fight first, then Yi Fan and the others might be in danger. Purple Knight Son of Heaven really had a good plan. Fortunately, Lu Chen already knew that the current Jiao, or more accurately, the dark erosion, had to avoid this situation, so he had to make other plans. Purple Knight narrowed his eyes slightly. Then what do you want? Don't you want to fight with your life? Okay, in 7 days, we'll fight at the Immortal Corpse Mound, Lu Chen said. Purple Knight Son of Heaven's gaze swept towards Yi Fan. He wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to let the disciples fight, and let the dark erosion kill Yi Fan first, then Lu Chen. However, with Lu Chen's delay, it seemed that the plan was going to be ruined. However, he thought about it again. Since Nameless had agreed to the battle, as long as he killed him, Yi Fan would naturally not be able to escape. Most importantly, although the dark erosion's growth was fast, her level had increased too quickly recently. He felt that she had not fully adapted to her current level. She would need a few days to adapt to the command and display more strength. In that case, delaying it for a few days would be beneficial to him. Okay, 7 days it is. I'll wait for you for 7 days. 7 days later, at the Immortal Corpse Mound, I'll take your and Yi Fan's lives. Let's go. Since Lu Chen had promised in front of so many people, he had nothing to worry about. With that, Purple Knight Son of Heaven led a few disciples, and left the Demonic Academy. Looking at the backs of Purple Knight Son of Heaven, and the others leaving, Ma Bei stood beside Lu Chen frowning. This Purple Knight is much more arrogant than usual. It seems that he's very confident. Lu Chen nodded. I know. You shouldn't have agreed to Purple Knight Son of Heaven's request. I've already spoken up for you. I don't believe that he dares to confront the Zhongxiangu head-on. Ma Bei shook his head. Lu Chen sighed. Ma Bei, if you don't get rid of this person, I'm afraid that your Zhongxiangu will be in danger. Ma Bei stared with wide eyes, looking at Lu Chen in disbelief. If someone else said this, he would treat it as a joke. But Nameless said this, it definitely wasn't groundless. Following that, Lu Chen looked at Yi Fan. That kid was currently in a daze, not knowing what he was thinking. Actually, Lu Chen could more or less guess what Yi Fan was thinking. His current strength was not enough to defeat Purple Knight Son of Heaven. Yi Fan, don't worry. I won't kill Purple Knight Son of Heaven. Take revenge for yourself, Lu Chen said. Yi Fan came back to his senses. Dean. Lu Chen took a deep breath and narrowed his eyes. If I'm not wrong, in the Battle of the Immortal Corpse Tomb, my opponent was not Purple Knight Son of Heaven. It's not Zai? Everyone looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Purple Knight Son of Heaven's strength was clearly the strongest in the Purple Sky Palace. If they really wanted to kill Lu Chen, why didn't they let the strongest fight him? Only Lu Chen knew that 7 days later, his opponent would be that woman. The one who sealed all her memories of him in the River of Forgetfulness. Mu Mansion Jiao. Chapter 1126. The Purple Heavenly Palace left, but the Demonic Academy's ranking wasn't confirmed yet. Ma Bei announced the results of the disciple competition. The final score was 300 points. Currently, the Demonic Academy's total score is 631 points. Ma Bei said. Next is the bonus points. The Disciple competition is worth 20 points. The Heavenly Music Pavilion's hunting competition is worth 50 points. The Prodigy competition is worth 150 points. The Demonic Academy's final score is 851 points, ranked 16th in the Shenyuan Continent's Academy ranking. The major academies below the stage were in an uproar. 850 points in the first ranking test, ranked 16th. This is a newly established academy. Our academy's first score was only 200 points. The Demonic Academy's potential is too terrifying. With a little more time, it will become the first immortal academy in Shenyuan Continent. Now let's see how the battle between the Purple Heavenly Palace and the gods and demons will turn out in 7 days. Ma Bei continued. Everyone calm down. Venerable Shunliang has announced that due to the Nameless Principal's special contribution, the Demonic Academy has obtained the qualifications to become the Sacred Academy. This caused an uproar below the stage. It can't be right? Directly entering the Sacred Academy? Are you kidding me? Not to mention Shenyuan Continent, even the 6th heavenly layer doesn't have such a precedent. A Prodigy competition's champion can directly enter the Sacred Academy. A Celestial Fortress disciple looked back at the person who spoke. It seemed like he came from another continent. Prodigy competition's champion? Friend, you underestimate the Nameless Principal too much. This kind of battle record is not worth mentioning at all for the Nameless Senior. With his contribution, not to mention the Sacred Academy, if the Immortal Academy didn't need to go through the star map formation, it would be reasonable for the gods and demons to become the Immortal Academy, killing the King of Hell and saving the entire 6th heavenly layer. Even the principal of the Immortal Academy didn't have this ability. It was just that Lu Chen didn't want to make it public, so Zhongxiange didn't explain the specific reason. The Demonic Academy's ranking test finally ended, and the lower Demonic Academy became the Demonic Sacred Academy. After the ranking competition ended, the disciples led the guests down the mountain. However, many people stayed behind to congratulate Lu Chen. Li Wei walked in front of Lu Chen and smiled at Lu Chen. Nameless, congratulations. You are now part of the Sacred Court. Lu Chen temporarily put aside the matter of Jiao. He was still very grateful towards Li Wei. She was the only woman Lu Chen had ever told him her true name. Their relationship was naturally not ordinary. Li Wei, I have to thank you for being able to reach this point. Li Wei smiled, but then she thought of something and her expression turned serious. Lu Chen, are you sure you want to go to the Immortal Corpse Mound? I mean, the Purple Knight Emperor clearly came prepared. In the past, they wouldn't directly clash with Zhongxiange, but this time, I see that he's full of confidence. It seems like he has some kind of trump card in his hand. Lu Chen frowned. He does have a trump card. Lu Chen didn't want to say too much. In 7 days, I will accept the challenge. At that time, no matter what tricks he plays, I will take them on. Lu Chen, I will go with you when the time comes. I should have told you before that our Fenglai isn't afraid of the Purple Sky Palace. If something really happens, I might be able to help. Lu Chen nodded. There was no need to be polite between him and Li Wei. Oh right. Lu Chen suddenly remembered something. He took out a purple crystal from his backpack and handed it to Li Wei. Look at my memory. When Yao He and I went to the land of extreme frost together, we obtained this illusion god crystal. I promised to give it to you, but something happened to the little critter, and I forgot about it for a moment. Li Wei smiled slightly. Silly, of course I know. At that time, you didn't have time to think about anything else. At that time, it was just the two of them riding the sky shuttle. Lu Chen didn't move when Li Wei threw herself at him. In Li Wei's opinion, it should be because Lu Chen had too many things on his mind. Lu Chen didn't understand Li Wei's hidden meaning. He put the crystal in Li Wei's hand. Li Wei, I will go entertain the others first. There are a lot of people, so don't blame me for being negligent. Go, Li Wei said with a smile. The people from Celestial Fortress also came. When He Xing saw that Lu Chen was free, he quickly walked over. Nameless brother, congratulations. You just entered the ranking and you already won the Saint Academy. No wonder you are Nameless Brother's Academy. You are too strong. You flatter me, Brother Hixing. Lu Chen smiled. Nameless Brother, your academy's students are each more powerful than the other. It's just that your place seems a little empty. Hixing looked around. Lu Chen explained. The academy has just started. It can't be compared to your World Edge Pavilion. Hixing laughed. Ha ha ha, Nameless Brother, haven't you always wanted a set of strength testing stones? Coincidentally, a few new strength testing stones have appeared in the Qingzi continent's new mineral veins. The quality is better than our World Edge Pavilions. I have already asked the refiners to make them into strength testing stones. You can send them over in a few days. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Really? Why would I lie to you? How embarrassing. Lu Chen actually felt a little apologetic. Hey, why are you saying this to me? Let's not talk about killing the King of Hell. If it weren't for you, the 800 people from the World Edge Pavilion would have died in the underworld. We have wanted to express our gratitude for a long time, but we were busy dealing with the underworld invasion. Later, the Qingzi continent had to recover its vitality, so we delayed it. Nameless Brother, don't reject it. If you do, it means that you don't treat the World Edge Pavilion as a friend. Lu Chen had wanted a strength testing stone for a long time, but he didn't care for ordinary strength testing stones. Those poor ones could be destroyed by the students in minutes. At least the World Edge Pavilion's strength testing stones were of good quality. Now that the World Edge Pavilion had taken the initiative to give him a set, he was naturally happy. Then I'll accept it. Thank you, Brother Hixing. After talking about the strength testing stone, Hixing's face darkened. He whispered to Lu Chen, I heard that the Purple Heavenly Palace has been very close to the Heavenly Music Pavilion recently. You have to be careful in the Battle of the Immortal Corpse Mound. I suspect that the Purple Knight Emperor is up to something big this time. Lu Chen frowned and said, the Heavenly Music Pavilion is also involved. Hixing said, I've already informed the Lord of this matter. The Lord has ordered us to take this opportunity of escorting the testing stone to secretly transfer people over. If anything happens to the Violet Heavenly Palace, we can deal with it together with the Pavilion of Immortals. I'll go with you to the Battle of 7 Days. Nameless Brother, please arrange a place for me to stay for the next few days. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It seemed that the Purple Knight Emperor was very ambitious. However, it seemed that the Purple Knight Emperor had neglected Lu Chen's friends. Lu Chen was the kind of person who showed no mercy to his enemies. However, as long as they were not his enemies, Lu Chen would never put on airs. No matter what their identity was, as long as they were well-behaved, he would be happy to make friends with them. This was because they were all like-minded people. He treated his friends with sincerity, and his friends treated him the same way. If the Celestial Fortress and the Zhongxiange joined forces, they would not be afraid of the Heavenly Music Pavilion and the Purple Heavenly Palace. Lu Chen nodded and secretly decided on this matter. Brother Hixing, feel free to stay. Nameless Brother, it's rare for you to come here. Of course, I have to be a good host. That day, the Black Armor King discovered a problem. The inns at the foot of the Intentionless Mountain were all full. Even the inns in the surrounding business districts were overcrowded. He immediately sent people to investigate the situation of the colleges near the Immortal Corpse Mound. The guest rooms over there were fully booked in an instant. It seems that they are all waiting for the appointment of the Dean and the Purple Heavenly Palace in 7 days. Chapter 1127. Purple Sky Palace, Star Sky Illusion Cultivation Room. From the outside, it looked similar to an ordinary cultivation room. However, upon entering, one would discover that the entire cultivation room was like a galaxy. Purple Knight Tianzi stood beside Jiao. Jiao, your level has increased too quickly recently. You've even crossed the human monarch realm. Both your body and spiritual power have been greatly strengthened. You should be able to feel it. Starting from the 5-star Theo the Great, physical strengthening doesn't just rely on spiritual power to level up. Purple Knight Tianzi said. Because when you increase your star level, the spirit core will transform your body. If your physical body isn't strong enough, You won't be able to withstand this transformation. One of the reasons why there aren't many top experts in the human race is that their physical body's upper limit is too low. The higher their level, the more difficult it is for them to improve. There are only a handful of humans who can reach the human monarch realm. However, whether it's the human race or other races, after the physical strengthening, you'll need to adapt to the strength of your new body. The most direct way to adapt to the strength of your new body is to fight. Purple Knight Tianzi looked at Jiaor. This woman's original body was human. He didn't know why Dark Erosion chose to occupy this woman's body. Of course, from the looks of it, Dark Erosion Jiaor's leveling speed was very fast. She could also control her body very well. It seemed that Dark Erosion had a way to solve this problem. In short, Nameless proposed to fight in 7 days. It's actually more advantageous for us. I've already used Star Sky Illusion. 7 days here is 7 months. You have to improve your strength as much as possible here. Dark Erosion Jiaor's eyes were cold. Even if I don't cultivate, I can still kill Nameless. Didn't you already simulate his illusion before? Purple Knight Tianzi laughed. Yes, you defeated Nameless' illusion. However, that only means that you have a high chance of winning. It doesn't mean that you'll definitely win. Besides, wouldn't it be better if you could become stronger? Your goal shouldn't be to kill Nameless. Jiaor didn't object to this point. After all, Nameless was just a stepping stone on her path to becoming stronger. After obtaining Jiaor's support, Purple Knight Tianzi's goal wasn't just to kill Yi Fan. In addition to allowing you to quickly adapt to your new level in these 7 days, this Star Sky Fantasy realm can also simulate powerful opponents. This will allow you to become stronger faster in actual combat. For thousands of years, the Violet Heavenly Palace has collected information on 9 cultivators of different levels. If you want to challenge them, you can directly let the Starry Sky illusion simulate your opponent. Jiaor narrowed her eyes. How does this Star Sky Fantasy compare to the Nameless Fantasy? Purple Knight Emperor smiled. In the Astral Sky Fantasy, most of the illusions are stronger than Nameless. Every illusion was once the strongest of the 6th heavenly layer. These people all became true immortals later on. It's just that we chose their abilities from different periods to compare, so there's a difference in their strength. With Nameless' current strength, in the Astral Sky Mirage, she's probably ranked in the bottom 2 or 3. Jiaor's lips curled up slightly. In other words, there are 6 or 7 people stronger than Nameless. Interesting. Alright, I'll leave you the recovery pills and the extraction scroll. You can cultivate here in peace. With that, Purple Knight Emperor left the Star Sky Fantasy realm. As soon as Purple Knight Emperor left, Jiaor summoned the Nameless Fantasy. In front of Jiaor stood that man. Jiaor looked at Lu Chen's appearance and paused slightly. She didn't know why, but she felt that this man was very familiar, as if she had known him for a long time. During the first test, she had this feeling. And this time, after seeing Nameless with her own eyes, this feeling was even stronger. Suddenly, 2 drops of tears fell from the corner of Jiaor's eyes. She wiped away her tears in shock, her eyes filled with disbelief. Jiaor still had a remnant consciousness? Damn it, it's really that woman's memory. But why can't I find any memories of Nameless? Jiaor hugged her head in pain. If she couldn't find that memory, she couldn't delete it. But Jiaor quickly calmed down, her eyes filled with anger. Jiaor of Wood Manor, stop struggling. I don't care who he is. I will kill him no matter what. The second time she killed Lu Chen's fantasy was smoother than the first time. After fully activating her state, Jiaor defeated Lu Chen's fantasy once again. When Lu Chen's fantasy dissipated, Jiaor's subconscious about that person seemed to have become even more blurred. Jiaor sneered. It seems that he is someone you care about. Every time you kill him, you must feel more despair. Very well, then I will keep killing him, and let you disappear completely in despair. In Star Sky Fantasy Boundary, a day was a month. Jiaor had been repeatedly killing Lu Chen's fantasy. She wanted Jiaor to see Nameless die in her hands again and again. Finally, that infuriating concern became fainter and fainter. Ha 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 ha, Jiaor, this time you must have completely given up, right? When you chose to cultivate me, you should have known that one day, I will take everything from you. At this time, A voice rang out in Star Sky Fantasy Boundary. It's actually Dark Corrosion Chaos. I have already collected 6 Dark Corrosion Chaos sets. Who? Jior shouted angrily. That voice clearly did not belong to Purple Night Prince. Only Purple Night Prince could enter this place. That voice did not panic at all. You don't need to know who I am. You only need to know that I am here to help you. Help me? Jior was surprised. What do you mean? That voice laughed. Ha 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 ha, how ignorant. You think you can kill Nameless just because you defeated a few Nameless fantasy? Nameless is stronger than you think. He has 6 pieces of the Life Reverser set while you have 6 pieces of the Dark Corrosion Chaos set. But you must realize that even though the Dark Corrosion Chaos set is on par with the Life Reverser set, that's because the Life Reverser set isn't able to be completed. In fact, you are far inferior to Life Reversal set. That person's words seem to have touched Jior's reverse scale. She shouted angrily, shut up. Fiend gods who go against fate are nothing more than tools for others. But I, by rebelling against my master, can become a true expert. How can it compare to me? That voice said calmly. But how can a master who can control Life Reversal set be an ordinary person? Just getting 1 Life Reversal set is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. You turning against your master is equivalent to you lacking a master. The key combat power of Life Reversal set. Jior became even more agitated. Who are you? Is it an illusion here? Which one is it? I will kill you. Sorry, there are no illusions of me here. I existed before Purple Sky Palace. That voice said. You don't need to be angry. I said I am here to help you. Although you are not Nameless opponent now, if you collect all 9 Dark Corrosion set, it will be completely different. What? Collect all 9? Jior was completely shocked. As she spoke, 3 Dark Corrosion Chaos sets appeared in front of her. This is my gift to you, that voice said. And what you need to do is to kill Nameless. Chapter 11:28. After sending off the guests, Luchan finally had a chance to rest. Although the Demonic Academy had become the Sacred Academy, Luchan was not happy. The Jior he saw today was completely different from before. Apart from her appearance, there was no trace of Jior in her. He did not know if Jior's consciousness had been completely taken over by the dark erosion. He took out the 2 crystal teardrops from his backpack. Jior, I will definitely save you. Someone knocked on the door. Luchan hurriedly wiped away the teardrops. Please come in. It was Taihao, Tian Xiner, Li Wei Hixing, and Ma Bei. Luchan felt strange when he saw these people. He knew that Li Wei and the others were at the Demonic Academy, but when did Taihao and Tian Xiner come? Senior Taihao, Tian Xiner, why are you here? Taihao smiled. Nameless Xiner asked me to come. Luchan frowned. Tian Xiner had been here before? He had not noticed. We came to find you for something and happened to meet your friends. Taihao looked at Li Wei and the others. Taihao's gaze lingered on Li Wei for half a second. This woman from the Heavenly Fox clan seemed to be his daughter's love rival, one of them. Luchan hurriedly invited everyone into the house. Why are you looking for me? Li Wei looked at Luchan and asked, Nameless, you and the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace. Before Luchan could speak, Taihao smiled and said, Miss Li Wei, don't worry. We are friends with Nameless. I came here this time because I received a piece of news. I guess you came to find him because of this. Luchan asked curiously, what is it? The weather at the Purple Sky Palace has changed. If I'm not wrong, they have activated the Star Sky Illusion Array. Li Wei and the others were relieved. It seemed that Taihao was not an outsider. They came to inform Luchan of this matter. Star Sky Illusion Array? Luchan looked confused. Yes, the Star Magic Matrix is the top training room of the Purple Sky Palace. It needs to absorb spiritual chi for hundreds of years to complete one charge. 1 day of training inside is equivalent to a month outside. Luchan immediately frowned. He already knew what was going to happen next. Jior must be cultivating inside. He had not expected the Purple Heavenly Palace to have such a trick up their sleeves. He had delayed it for 7 days. It was not a long time, but the Purple Heavenly Palace had used their trump card. My 7-day agreement was set too hastily, Lu Chen said with a frown. He Xing comforted him. We did not expect the Purple Sky Palace to use the Star Sky Illusion Array, but you don't have to worry. Although the Purple Night Emperor is very strong, he is definitely not as strong as the King of Hell. He won't improve much in 7 years. Lu Chen shook his head. If the Purple Night Emperor was cultivating in the Star Sky Illusion Array, he would not have to worry at all. He was almost certain that the Purple Sky Palace had created the Star Sky Illusion Array at this time for Jiao, to use. It was hard to predict how much Jiao, could improve in 7 months. Tai Hao also knew about Jiao, but he did not expose He Xing. He continued. Besides this, there is one more thing. Everyone looked at Tai Hao strangely. They only knew about the Star Sky Illusion Array. Tai Hao said, there is a mighty figure in the 6th heaven who came down. What? A mighty figure came down to the 6th heaven? Is something big going to happen? Lu Chen was a little confused. Isn't it normal to come down? Tai Hao shook his head. Those above the 6th heaven are all immortals. These immortals will not come down so easily. Even when the King of Hell invaded, they did not come down. It is obvious. What is certain is that if something big happens, immortals may not come down. But if immortals come down, it is certain that something big will happen. And this time, the one who came down from the vibration of the 6th heaven's spiritual power, it might be a true immortal. This time, even Lu Chen was shocked. A true immortal? He had never seen a true immortal before. Tai Hao continued. At present, the 6th heaven has just experienced the underworld invasion and is recovering its vitality. It can be said that the 6th heaven is rarely so peaceful. But a true immortal came down at this time. I am afraid this has something to do with the Purple Sky Palace. While they were discussing, they suddenly felt the ground shake. The teacups on the tea table almost fell off the table. Everyone looked at each other and rushed out of the house. They came out of the house and found that almost all the disciples were standing outside, looking for the source of the vibration. What's going on? I don't know. I thought someone made a move on intentionless. The vibration is not very big, but it has been shaking. It doesn't seem to be caused by the aftermath of a strong move. Soon someone shouted, "Look at the sky." Everyone looked up. At this time it was evening. In the sky, on a certain star, a dark purple light shot out from the star. Damn, what is that? Is it the aftermath of the other continents that caused the vibration here? This is too exaggerated. Star vision. It should be a star vision. Which continent is that? There is a stardust vision. What happened over there? Everyone was dumbfounded by the scene in front of them. A heaven and earth vision only existed in one area, but a star vision could be seen even on other continents. It was not on the same level at all. Tai Hao frowned. Does it have something to do with a true immortal coming down? Ma Bei quickly took out the astrolabe and located the continent. That is, the Purple Mountain continent where the Purple Sky Palace is located. The Purple Sky Palace. Everyone's hearts tightened. Lu Chen's expression was serious. Was it Jiao? The vibration finally disappeared after a few minutes. The light shot out from the star also disappeared. Lu Chen and the others returned to the house. Everyone was silent. Obviously, this was not a good thing for Nameless. It could even have an unimaginable impact on level 6. Tai Hao, Ma Bei, and He Xing had already sent people to investigate this matter. However, there would not be any news for a while. If a star vision appeared in the Purple Sky Palace, then Tai Hao's pupils contracted. Nameless, you might be in danger during the 7-day agreement. Dad, Tian Xiner said anxiously. Think of a way to help Nameless. They all looked at Tian Xiner in surprise. Tian Xiner also realized that she was being too obvious. She hurriedly said, well, Purple Night Emperor has always been ambitious. Even if it's not for Nameless for level 6, we can't just sit back and do nothing. Tai Hao sighed. This girl knew that Nameless was thinking about Jiao in the Wood Mansion, but she still cared so much about Lu Chen. It seemed that she was deeply in love with him. I didn't say I didn't care. Nameless, the Purple Sky Palace has the astral illusion formation, but the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace also has the Immortal Emperor's Mountain Realm. If you want to go, I can open the Mountain Realm for you. Mountain Realm? The legendary Royal Heaven Immortal Palace's most powerful cultivation Holy Land? Ma Bei and He Xing's eyes widened. However, Lu Chen did not immediately agree. A star vision appeared in the Purple Sky Palace. They might have obtained some treasure. If I only rely on cultivation, I might not have a chance of winning, Lu Chen said. At this point, everyone fell silent. Without the opportunity to cultivate, the increase in strength would be limited. Then what should we do? Li Wei was worried and asked anxiously. Lu Chen took a deep breath. Maybe I still have a chance. Give me 3 days. 3 days later, Tai Hao, I will come to the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. Chapter 1129. 3 days? Nameless, what do you want to do? Ma Bei asked curiously. I want to go to the Demonic Academy's main spirit vein. Lu Chen said. He only had 3 days to prepare. It was obviously too late to use these 3 days to find the star core. The fastest way was the main spirit vein. Although he didn't know what was in the main spirit vein, since the people in the mountains had asked him to come, it couldn't have been for no reason. Now every minute that passed in the outside world made Jiao stronger. Lu Chen had to take a gamble. Ma Bei, please lift the seal set by Zhongxian Ge. I want to enter the main spirit vein. Everyone looked at Lu Chen in shock. Ma Bei said anxiously, Nameless, the thing in your main spirit vein is very strange. Back then, the celestial venerable came to check it himself, but he didn't have a clue. That's why we had to seal it. Lu Chen shook his head. I can't care about that now. I have to go in and take a look. If Lu Chen insisted, Ma Bei had nothing to say. After all, Lu Chen was now the director of the Demonic Academy. He had the right to ask Zhongxian Ge to lift the seal. Alright, but I think it's best not to lift the seal completely. I can let you in. That way, even if something unexpected happens, it'll be under control. Lu Chen nodded. If that's possible, then that's naturally the best. Thank you. Ma Bei sighed. In short, he couldn't change Lu Chen's decision. Right, you must remember not to stay in there for too long. The thing in there is too mysterious. Many people who participated in sealing the main spirit vein suffered heavy losses, including Celestial Venerable Shen Liang. Lu Chen frowned. Were they killed? Ma Bei smiled helplessly. Not only were they killed, but so many people went in to check it out. They didn't even know when they were killed, and their bodies weren't even found. Not only that, but our people went in for less than an hour. Many people's levels regressed, and they forgot their skills and lost their equipment. What? There's such a thing? Everyone exclaimed together. Even Tai Hao felt that it was a little unbelievable. Ma Bei said helplessly. It's because it's so strange that we didn't dare to continue to look for the main spirit vein. We could only set up a formation to seal this place. Unfortunately, in the past 400 years, the holy courtyard of Wunyan has still suffered greatly, and there is nothing we can do about it. It was obviously the first time Lu Chen had heard of such a strange thing, but there was no time to hesitate. He had to go in and take a look. Ma Bei, let's go. The main spirit vein was located at the back of Intentionless Mountain. Lu Chen frowned as he stood at the entrance of the back of the mountain. Mountain Man, is this what you want me to find? Ma Bei said to Lu Chen. Nameless, as soon as I open the seal, you go in immediately. I've already given you the voice transmission talisman. If you want to come out, let me know and I'll open the formation immediately. Lu Chen nodded. This time Lu Chen didn't bring the little beast. After all, the danger here was secondary. The key was that it was too mysterious. Nameless, be careful. We'll wait for you outside the formation. Li Wei's eyes were full of worry. Lu Chen nodded. I'll be careful. Ma Bei was ready. The moment he opened the formation, Lu Chen rushed into the entrance. As soon as he entered the entrance, the formation behind him closed again. From here, he could see that Ma Bei and the others were looking at him. Lu Chen smiled at them, and then entered the narrow path without looking back. Following the path, Lu Chen soon arrived at a cave. In front of the cave, there was a stone tablet with the words Spirit Vein Restricted Area, "Do not enter" written on it. Lu Chen directly entered the cave. After passing through the cave and coming out from the other side, Lu Chen found that there was an open valley in front of him. In the center of the valley was a huge lake. On the shore stood a stone tablet with the words, "Autumn Thought Lake" written on it. The valley, the lake, and the fact that no one had come here for a long time. Logically speaking, it should be a scene of lush greenery. However, this valley could only be described as dead silence at this time. The soil on the ground was dry, and there were withered branches and withered leaves everywhere. The lake was as quiet as a mirror, without a trace of wind. Lu Chen looked over and could not see a trace of life here. It was hard to imagine that this used to be the main spirit vein of Wuxia Academy, known as one of the 3 great spirit veins of Shenyuan continent. Ma Bei had reminded Lu Chen that he could not stay here for long. However, Lu Chen was completely confused now. Naturally, it was impossible for him to leave now. He could only raise his vigilance and be on guard at all times. There's not even a spirit gathering array? Lu Chen was a little surprised. One had to know that natural spirit veins were fixed spirit veins. Generally, a spirit gathering array would be set up to gather spirit energy. After choosing the site, it was impossible for the Wuxia Academy not to set up a spirit gathering array. Could it be that it's too old? Lu Chen shook his head. Speaking of which, where is the spirit source of this spirit vein? It can't be in the lake, right? Lu Chen opened his heaven's eye to check. No way, the spirit energy here is too thin. Not long after, Lu Chen noticed a farmhouse by the lake. He hurried over to check it out. The farmhouse seemed to have been abandoned for many years. The walls were broken, and the exposed bricks had turned into sand. It was a miracle that the house had not collapsed yet. Lu Chen carefully walked into the farmhouse. He saw that there was common furniture in the farmhouse, but it was covered in dust. Other than that, there was nothing special about it. What's going on with this farmhouse? Looking at the complete set of bowls and chopsticks, it seems that someone used to live here. Lu Chen could not think of the original reason for the time being. He could only walk out of the farmhouse first. Looking at the desolate valley again, Lu Chen's gaze finally fell on the lake. There's no spirit gathering array, no spirit source, nothing. If there's really something here, it should be in the autumn yearning lake. Just as Lu Chen was about to walk towards the autumn yearning lake, a figure suddenly flashed in front of him. After all, Lu Chen was always on guard against the enemy's sneak attack. He quickly activated the divine demon symbiosis. However, just as Lu Chen activated the state, the black figure had already disappeared. Is it that thing in the main spirit vein? Lu Chen frowned. But it didn't attack me. That should have been a good opportunity. Just as Lu Chen was surprised, he suddenly saw a system notification. Body's spiritual energy decreased by 10,000 points. Lu Chen's eyes widened. His spiritual energy had decreased? What's going on? Unexpectedly, just as Lu Chen was in a daze, there was a sudden movement of spirit energy behind him. When Lu Chen sensed it and turned around, he found nothing. Body's strength decreased by 30,000 points. Fuck. Lu Chen's eyes widened. His strength decreased by 30,000 points again? Wait a minute, Jiu was crazily increasing her strength in the Star Sky fantasy realm. And he was crazily losing attributes in the main spirit vein? How was he going to play this? Chapter 1130. Damn it, what the hell is that? Lu Chen looked around nervously. Until now, he had not even seen what the other party looked like. He could suddenly imagine the panic of those people when the Pavilion of Immortals first came here. They did not even have a chance to fight and their attributes kept dropping. Who could stand that? Moreover, the Pavilion of Immortals had originally come with a large group of people. Perhaps their feelings were not as deep as Lu Chen's. Now that that fellow was staring at Lu Chen and stealing from him alone, Lu Chen's situation was even more dangerous. No, my attributes can't be lost for no reason. Lu Chen hurriedly adjusted his mentality. Divine Demon Heaven's Might. Dragon God Form. Lu Chen directly used the monster army's attributes and added all 5 million attribute points to agility. At the same time, he activated the Dragon God Form to greatly increase his combat strength, so that he could detect the other party's movements. As long as he had time to react, he might be able to catch up to that guy if he activated the divine demon astral form. However, after waiting for a long time, that guy did not appear again. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Perhaps that guy knew that it would be dangerous to come out now, and did not want to confront him directly. Is he waiting for my heaven's might to end? That's too cunning. Lu Chen hurriedly changed his tactics. If you don't come to me, I'll continue to investigate. Lu Chen used the water avoidance pearl and walked towards Autumn Yearning Lake. When he stepped on the lake, the entire lake suddenly began to shake. Immediately after, a huge array pattern floated on the lake. Found it the Spirit Gathering Array. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that the Spirit Gathering Array here was set up in the lake. This method was not something an ordinary array master could do. As the Spirit Gathering Array floated on the water, the shores around Autumn Yearning Lake rumbled. 9 huge statues rose from the 9 directions of Autumn Yearning Lake. These 9 statues had 9 different images: human, god, devil, Buddha, Taoist, demon, dragon, spirit, and monster. Each statue was 200 to 300 meters tall. They each held a different weapon in one hand and looked at the center of the lake at the same time. Not long after, ripples appeared in the center of Autumn Remembrance Lake, and ripples spread out from the center of the lake. Then a crystal coffin rose from the lake. Inside the coffin lay a peerlessly beautiful woman. The woman's features were picturesque, her skin was tender and rosy, and her lips were as fresh and tender as cherries. She wore a pink and white gauze dress, and her hands were placed on her chest as she lay peacefully inside the crystal coffin. This? Lu Chen's eyes widened. Is this the spiritual source of the main spiritual vein of Wunyan Academy? Lu Chen spread his wings and arrived before the crystal coffin. Under close observation, there was nothing strange about the woman. It was as if she had fallen asleep. However, the words "Coffin of True Love" were written on the crystal coffin. Since it was a coffin, this woman should already be dead. It was just that she had used some special method to prevent her body from rotting. Lu Chen never dreamed that the spiritual source of the holy courtyard of Wunyan was actually a corpse. Just as Lu Chen was about to take a closer look at the female corpse, a sudden gust of cold wind blew behind him. Here it comes. Lu Chen was already prepared. 9 void steps. Lu Chen quickly distanced himself from it. However, the fellow did not chase after Lu Chen. Instead, it lay on the crystal coffin and looked affectionately at the woman in the crystal coffin. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. He finally saw the fellow's appearance clearly. It was a hunchbacked black monster whose clothes did not cover its body. Lu Chen looked at the thing that was neither human nor ghost. What exactly are you? The fellow did not seem to hear Lu Chen's words. It only looked at the woman in the crystal coffin. Its eyes were extremely clear, and its hands caressed the surface of the crystal coffin, as if it was caressing its lover. Lu Chen's mind raced. The holy courtyard of Wunyan was founded by the Patriarch of Wunyan. When it was founded, this place was chosen as the location of the holy courtyard of Wunyan. Other than the appearance of the monster, the main spiritual vein had always been very peaceful. In other words, from the beginning, the main spiritual vein had not changed. Then it was very likely that the Patriarch of Wunyan had used Qiu Ruo's corpse as the spiritual source from the beginning. At this moment, seeing that the monster was so deeply in love with the woman, a terrifying thought appeared in Lu Chen's mind. You are Wunyan. At the mention of Wunyan, the fellow finally raised its head. Its eyes were full of resentment, and it said in a hoarse voice, I am not that heartless fellow. I will never treat Qiu Ruo as the spiritual source. Lu Chen frowned and said, Then who exactly are you? Why are you here? The man gently caressed the crystal coffin and looked at the beautiful woman in the coffin. He said softly, Qiu Ruo, I'm sorry to let someone disturb your peace. I'll kill that person now. Then he turned to look at Lu Chen. Kid, you have some strength. You actually have the form of a dragon god. Are you from the dragon clan? No, I've never seen your dragon seed. Who exactly are you? Lu Chen sneered. I was the one who asked you first, but you have more questions than me. I'm not a dragon. I just fused with the dragon crystal. As for my dragon seed, I'm sorry. We're not close enough for me to tell you this. The man thought for a moment. Fused with the dragon crystal. No wonder, I could clearly feel that you're a human. Kid, to be able to fuse with the dragon crystal at the level of 1-star Emperor Xiao. It seems that you're also a talent. Fine, I'll tell you. The man said in a hoarse voice. I'm the Sky Thief. The Sky Thief? So you're saying that my attributes were stolen by you? Lu Chen said. Also, the spiritual energy of Wunyan's main spirit vein is thin. Was it you who caused the students' levels to regress? The Sky Thief snorted coldly. In this world, from spiritual energy to equipment, even your skills, there's nothing that I can't steal. Lu Chen was a little disappointed. If Wunyan's main spirit vein was because of this Sky Thief, then it meant that there was no opportunity here at all. Nor was there a way for him to quickly increase his strength. In the battle 7 days later, he would have to face Dark Shurjiu. It's actually you. Lu Chen sighed. I don't care if you steal from the heavens, steal from the earth, or steal from people. In the end, you're just a thief. Just now, when you saw me enter the autumn lake, you didn't stop me. This means that you have some misgivings about me, so I can roughly guess your strength. Fine, I have no intention of disturbing Senior Qiuming's peace, and I'm not in the mood to fight with you right now. I advise you to quickly leave this place. After all, this is the territory of my God Devil Academy. The Sky Thief stared at Lu Chen. This guy had such a disappointed expression, and didn't even have the intention to make a move. It was obvious that he was looking down on him. Hey kid, do you really think I'm afraid of you? I didn't make a move just now because there are too many things about you that make me feel strange. It doesn't matter if you're afraid or not. What's important is that you're not what I'm looking for. Lu Chen shook his head and said, what you're looking for has nothing to do with me, but you actually dare to look down on me. Then I'll strip you naked and slowly torture you to death. I'll let you know what it means to steal the sky and change the sun. Lu Chen shook his head. If I really want to run, I'm afraid you won't be able to catch up to me. The people in the mountains were indeed a trap. Could it be that they sent him to Thoughtless just to catch a thief? Lu Chen's motive for founding the God Devil Academy suddenly became meaningless. Coupled with Jiaoer's matter, Lu Chen wasn't in the mood at all. Run. You still want to run after coming in? The Sky Thief coldly snorted. Seeing that you don't have any fighting spirit, it's a bit boring to defeat someone like you. Then I'll tell you. I'll give you a reason not to run. Lu Chen looked at the Sky Thief in surprise, waiting for him to continue. Suddenly, a ball of light appeared in the Sky Thief's hand. Within the ball of light, black and white entered each half of the 8 trigrams, slowly flowing. The corner of the Sky Thief's mouth rose. This God Devil Heavenly, I should make you have no choice but to stay and fight. Chapter 1131. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Who would have thought that there would be no monsters in Thoughtless Spirit Vein? Only Sky Pilfer, who was trapped by love. Yet Sky Pilfer had a piece of the life-defying Divine Demon set. Every piece of the life-defying Divine Demon set was extremely difficult to obtain. Lu Chen had almost lost his life several times in order to obtain it. But if it was Sky Pilfer, with his special ability, he might really be able to obtain one. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. What's your occupation? There shouldn't be any occupation in Jiutian that specializes in stealing. Sky Pilfer grinned. Why? You're not confident and want to know more? Lu Chen snorted. I'm just curious. Sky Pilfer didn't expect Lu Chen to be so frank. He thought for a moment and said, You told me that you fused with the dragon crystal, so I'll tell you one thing. My nature is that of a martial artist, but my physique is different from ordinary people, so my fighting style is also different from others. Lu Chen nodded. If I defeat you, the heaven's eyes will belong to me? Sure. But if you lose, your life will be mine. Deal. Lu Chen said without hesitation. Sky Pilfer smiled. Good, straightforward. Then I won't hold back. I, Sky Pilfer, will tell you in front of your face that I want to steal from you, and you can't stop me. Have a good taste of despair. After saying that, Sky Pilfer suddenly disappeared in front of Lu Chen. Lu Chen's eyes widened. This guy used astral form? Could it be that his astral form didn't need any skills to be used? At this moment, Lu Chen's mind was spinning. Sky Pilfer said that he was a martial artist and became so strange because of his special physique. But no matter what, he was still a martial artist. Is it because of his super speed combined with some special technique? Lu Chen guessed. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly felt something behind him. He didn't even turn around and directly jumped away with 9 void steps. But he was still 1 step too slow. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. As soon as Lu Chen stopped, a black shadow flashed in front of his eyes. However, the black shadow was still more than 10 meters away from Lu Chen. Before Lu Chen could react, a black shadow flashed past his eyes. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. So fast. That guy doesn't even need to get close to me to steal my stats. Ha ha ha. Thank you for your attributes. Don't you know? If you fight me, you'll become weaker and weaker, while I'll become stronger and stronger. Suddenly, Sky Thief's voice rang out from behind him. Sky Pilfer was right. If this continued, Lu Chen would not be a match for him. Based on his opponent's speed, even if he activated his Divine Devil Astral Form, he wouldn't be able to catch up. Moreover, the Divine Devil Astral Form only lasted for a dozen seconds, while his opponent could maintain it for a long time. For a moment, even the experienced Lu Chen was at his wit's end. Damn it, what the hell is this? Sky Thief's actions started to become more frequent. Every time he didn't need to touch Lu Chen, he only needed to pass by Lu Chen, and Lu Chen would lose a large amount of his stats. After several star core enhancements, his 3-dimensional stats were around 900,000, and his spiritual energy was around 1,800,000. In addition to the 40% boost from the 10 Wings and Creation Bloodline, his 3-dimensional stats were around 1,300,000, and his spiritual energy was around 2,400,000. These stats were already far above the average 1-star Emperor Xiao. However, no matter how high his stats were, he couldn't keep being stolen like this. Agility decreased by 10,000 points. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's system notifications were already flooding the screen. Divine Devil Astral Form. Lu Chen was forced to activate his Divine Devil Astral Form without any assurance. However, his opponent didn't appear. Either his Astral Form's grade was higher than the Divine Devil Astral Form, or he wasn't using his Astral Form at all. Ha 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 ha, you have the Divine Devil Astral Form? Your 9 transformations of the Divine Devil has already reached the 7th stage? Not bad. But so what? You won't be able to catch me. Brat, weren't you very confident just now? Why are you standing there like an idiot now? I told you before, even if I told you that I wanted to steal your stats, you wouldn't be able to do anything. During the Divine Devil Astral Form, that guy didn't attack again. However, the Divine Devil Astral Form only lasted for a dozen seconds. Once the time was up, Sky Pilfering would come again. Lu Chen was already in a passive position. After using his trump card, the Divine Devil Astral Form, it didn't have any effect. Instead, he lost an extremely important trump card. Fierce Tiger descends the mountain. Suppressive fire. Lu Chen tried to fire his spiritual cannons in all directions. Ha 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 ha, you're blind in front of me. Do you think this kind of skill can hit me? Fierce Tiger descends the mountain. Sacred Lotus Sword Heart. Lu Chen immediately swung his sword in the direction of the voice. Sword chi crisscrossed, and the mountain in the distance was directly bombarded by a large amount of sword chi. However, in the next second, his opponent's voice sounded again. Stop struggling. You can't even see me. Do you think you can hit me? Dream on. While speaking, that figure actually passed by Lu Chen's back when Lu Chen swung his sword. Agility decreased by 30,000 points. Strength decreased by 30,000 points. Lu Chen's side had a powerful battle strength, but there was nothing he could do. This was the first time Lu Chen had encountered such a passive situation since his debut. Speaking of which, although this Sky Pilfering was only good at stealing, if he kept stealing other people's stats, just how terrifying would his level be? This guy, if not for love, not to mention the high-level heaven domain, he would be invincible in the 6th heaven. Calm down. Lu Chen took a deep breath. At this time, if he panicked, he would have no chance of winning. Every time he stole, there would be a small amount of spiritual energy fluctuations. It was just that the other party's range of movement was too large and his speed was too fast. Lu Chen was always late to notice. Brat, don't waste your time. Just obediently wait for me to steal everything. Not only do I want to steal your stats, I also want to steal your skills and equipment. Sky Pilfering was nearby, but Lu Chen couldn't find him. Lu Chen tried his best not to be distracted by Sky Pilfering and continued to think of countermeasures. If his spiritual energy perception was a bit more sensitive, he might be able to find him. During battle, Lu Chen's spiritual energy was still a bit lacking. Unless he used the selfless state, but entering the selfless state in battle was courting death. At that time, the enemy wouldn't need to steal his stats and could just directly kill Lu Chen. Just a bit more. Lu Chen's brows were tightly knit. Was there any way to make up for this difference? Suddenly, Lu Chen's eyes opened wide. He thought of a skill that could slightly increase his spiritual energy perception. Creation. In the creation space he created, his spiritual energy perception was much more sensitive than in the outside world. However, the flexibility of the creation space was currently the biggest weakness. Lu Chen couldn't even catch Sky Pilfering himself, let alone use the creation space to cover him. Then cover this entire place. Lu Chen gritted his teeth. Soul and body as one. Divine Demon Lotus Heart, Inner Demon. He directly activated the full state. Not only that, he also transferred 5 million of Tianwei's attributes to his spiritual energy. At this point, Lu Chen's spiritual energy broke through 20 million. 22 million spiritual energy. Why is your battle soul's spiritual energy so high? Sky Pilfering seemed to be able to sense Lu Chen's spiritual energy value. He was also shocked by such a terrifying amount of spiritual energy. A one-star great emperor could raise his spiritual energy to 22 million when he was at his limit. In the midst of the violent spiritual energy explosion, Lu Chen's white hair fluttered. He coldly snorted. Sky Pilfering, your tricks are useless against me. You know Sky Pilfering? But sorry, I know creation. After saying that, Lu Chen angrily shouted. He raised his palms and his eyes were about to split open. Creation space. Chapter 1132. This was probably the most terrifying creation space that Lu Chen had ever created. After all, Sky Pilfer was in charge of stealing attributes. He probably wouldn't make a move until he suppressed Lu Chen's attributes to a low enough level. Since that was the case, he would give Lu Chen enough time to accumulate power. A transparent light shield completely covered the entire back mountain. At the entrance of the back mountain, Tai Hao and the others could see the phenomenon from afar. That's the creation space. Ma Bei's eyes widened. How can it be so big? Everyone had already noticed the tremors in the mountain and knew that there was a fierce battle going on inside. However, seeing the terrifying creation space at this moment was enough to make them tremble in fear. What kind of battle was it that could force Lu Chen to use such a terrifying concept skill? Tai Hao had also heard of Lu Chen's creation space, but seeing it with his own eyes, he couldn't help but be shocked. Damn, this is not on the same level as the creation space I know. According to the intelligence department, the creation space can't reach such a terrifying level. He Xing also said, when he fought with the King of Hell, Nameless didn't use such a terrifying creation space. Could it be that the monster in the main spirit vein is stronger than the King of Hell? No one saw the fierce battle in the valley, so they naturally didn't know the specific situation. The valley was now covered by the creation space. What kind of concept is this? Sky Pilfer's voice came. Sky Pilfer was indeed trapped in the creation space. Lu Chen smiled faintly. This is your grave. What a joke. It's just a newly created world. Sky Pilfer had already discovered the principle of creation. Gathering spiritual energy to form a sword shadow? Sorry, your sword shadow still can't catch up to me. Wait until I steal all your attributes, then I'll break your creation space. Lu Chen closed his eyes and observed the changes in the surrounding spiritual energy with his heaven's eye. Just behind him, the surrounding spiritual energy fluctuated. 9 void steps. Lu Chen immediately pulled away. A black shadow flashed, but Lu Chen pulled a distance of 30 meters and dodged it. In front of Lu Chen, Sky Pilfer revealed his true form and looked at Lu Chen in shock. You actually dodged it? Lu Chen faintly smiled. Everything has spiritual energy. Even if the spiritual energy here is thin and I can't catch your figure, I can still avoid you by observing the changes in the surrounding spiritual energy when you move. So what? You can only prevent me from stealing your stats, but you will never be able to defeat me. Lu Chen sneered. No, this is just the beginning. As I said, your tricks are useless against me. Really? It seems you've underestimated me. Sky Thief grinned. You don't think I don't have any skills, do you? Just now, I was just playing with you. Next, the show has just begun. After he finished speaking, Sky Pilfering disappeared once again. Sky Pilfering Sun Swapping. Lu Chen suddenly discovered that several hundred strands of qi had transformed, and were currently pouncing towards him from all directions. Is this a doppelganger? Lu Chen frowned. No, it's not a doppelganger. Every strand of qi is exactly the same. This is an illusion caused by the speed being too fast. Sky Pilfering's speed had reached an unimaginable level. Now the only chance was that Lu Chen could already perceive Sky Pilfering's position. Void 9 steps. Lu Chen quickly dodged. One void 9 steps was obviously not enough. Infinite 7 stars chasing the moon. Triple door. However, even if Lu Chen used a large number of displacement skills, he couldn't completely avoid Sky Pilfering. Body's spiritual energy decreased by 80,000 points. Body's physique decreased by 240,000 points. After activating Sky Pilfering Sun Swapping, Lu Chen's attribute drop was even more terrifying. As I said before, I was just playing with you. Now it's time to take your life. No matter how many attributes you have, you can only stretch out your neck to be slaughtered. Let's see what good equipment you have. Lost item Silver Gall. Lu Chen was shocked. Silver Gall was gone. What about skills? I'll borrow them too. Lost skill Devil Doppelganger. I actually can't steal your Devil God's Life Reversal skill. However, this doppelganger is a bit interesting. Devil Doppelganger. Using Heaven's Eye, Lu Chen found that Sky Pilfering had more than 20 doppelgangers. Damn it, this guy is so strong. The creation space did allow Lu Chen to see traces of Sky Pilfering, but Lu Chen still underestimated his strength. The original situation was that he couldn't see and couldn't block it. The current situation was that he could see, but he still couldn't block it. Let's see what good stuff you have in your backpack. Lost item Memory Teardrop. Lu Chen couldn't fight back at all. He could only watch as his attributes, equipment, skills, and items were all stolen by this guy. Especially when the Memory Teardrop was lost. Memory Teardrop. Lu Chen glared angrily. Give it back to me. Lu Chen chased after a figure, but he was quickly shaken off. Not only that, but because he went too deep, he lost a lot of attributes. Sky Pilfering appeared in front of Lu Chen, holding the 2 memory teardrops in his hand. He looked at Lu Chen in surprise. This time he didn't smile. He looked at Lu Chen with a dark expression. You actually snatched this from the hands of Myriad Underworld Soul. Lu Chen looked at Sky Pilfering coldly. So what if I did? I couldn't tell that you're also an infatuated person. Unfortunately, the stronger you are, the more things you need to forget. So, I'd rather never be strong enough. That way, I'll never forget autumn. Sky Pilfering suddenly threw the memory teardrop to Lu Chen. Go, I won't kill you. Lu Chen put away the memory teardrop and stared at Sky Pilfering. The victor between us hasn't been decided yet. Sky Pilfering narrowed his eyes. You're not my opponent at all. Although I admit that I can't beat you in a head-on battle. A battle of life and death isn't the only way. Your current attributes are less than 1/5 of your original attributes. When your soul-body fusion ends, my attributes will increase greatly. With your skills, what will you use to fight me? Lu Chen said coldly. You said that you can steal anything, but just now I've proven that it's not the case. Sky Pilfering frowned and looked at Lu Chen. You can't steal my Battle Soul's attributes, and you can't steal my Demon God's Fate Reversal skill. You can't use my Genesis equipment either. The battle soul's attributes are separated from the body's attributes. You're fighting with your original body, so your attributes don't match, so you can't steal it. Demon God's fate reversal has already recognized its owner, so you can't steal it. My Genesis is a skill that I comprehended on my own, so you can't steal it. After Sky Pilfering heard this, he smiled. Alright, you're right, but so what if you know? I can steal all your attributes. When your soul-body fusion ends, you'll be immortal. Not to mention that you have a few pieces of Demon God's fate reversal. Even if you have an entire set of Demon God's fate reversal, you'll still be easily killed by me. Lu Chen sneered. Didn't I say that I have something that you can't steal? It's precisely these things that you can't steal that can take your life. If you can't break the Genesis space, then you're already a dead man. Lu Chen took a deep breath. You only know that I have Genesis, but you don't know that I have a second skill, right? Sky Pilfering's calm expression suddenly changed. He widened his eyes. From the other party's expression, it seemed that this kid wasn't joking. Lu Chen sneered. You should be the first person to make me use this move. The one who should feel despair is you. With that, Lu Chen angrily shouted. Destroy for me. Destruction Stardust. Chapter 1133. Lu Chen directly fused the Destruction Stardust with the Creation Space. Using his control of the Creation Space, he expanded the range of the Destruction Stardust. A large number of sword shadows began to quickly disintegrate. The corners of the 9 statues began to disintegrate. Gravel fell off the faces of the towering statues. Sky Thief felt that his body seemed to have been affected. The tattered clothes on his body disintegrated into thin lines in front of his eyes. The thin lines then broke into several segments until it was difficult to see them clearly with the naked eye. Seeing this scene, Sky Thief looked at Lu Chen in shock. Impossible. I have seen the Destruction Stardust before. It has to attack the opponent's body for it to take effect. How can it have an effect before you even touch me? This is too exaggerated. Lu Chen said coldly. I didn't touch you. Your speed is too fast. I can't keep up with your speed. But the spiritual energy in the creation space can. Sky Thief's eyes widened. After thinking for a moment, he finally found the source of the problem. You used the creation space not to kill me with those sword shadows, but to fill this space with the spiritual energy produced by the creation space. That's right. In the creation space, my spiritual energy will be greatly enhanced. After all, this is a space created by me. Lu Chen said, the creation space will constantly split the spiritual energy. When this spiritual energy fills the entire space, I can locate your position. Not only that, I can also use them as a medium to directly use the Destruction Stardust. Sky Thief was already shocked. Having 2 powerful concepts at the same time was already unimaginable. And this guy was even using these 2 concepts together. The power was even more unimaginable. He had never heard of such a usage before. It was even more impossible for him to guard against it. In other words, he thought he had already won. But in reality, the one who had lost was not that kid, but himself. Your speed can't catch up to me. In a situation where you haven't even touched me, you can actually kill me. Sky Thief looked at this person in horror. It seemed like he was in a passive position, but the result was the exact opposite. Ha 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 ha, it seems like I was careless. I didn't think that someone would be able to use a concept skill to such an extent. Alright, I admit defeat. Heaven Pilferer smiled. I can return the steel attribute to you. And the divine demon Heaven Eyes is also yours. It doesn't matter if you kill me or not, but I beg you not to harm Qiuming. As he spoke, Sky Thief walked 10 meters in front of Lu Chen and handed Silver Guts and Demon God's Omniscient Eyes to Lu Chen. Body spiritual energy, 1,900,000, strength, 980,000, agility, 1,040,000, physique, 1,010,000. Skill Devil Clone recovered. I know that your Academy of Wu Nian has wanted to get rid of me for a long time. You can kill me or torture me as you wish, but please don't hurt Qiuming. Sky Thief looked at Lu Chen calmly. Suddenly, Lu Chen waved his hand, and the creation space and destruction stardust all disappeared. Sky Thief looked at Lu Chun in surprise. He didn't understand why Lu Chun would suddenly stop. You are, Lu Chun smiled. You didn't kill me before, so why should I kill you? This is no longer the Academy of Wunyan. Wunyan has already closed down because of you. Now this is the Divine Demon Academy, Lu Chun said. I'm the Dean of the Demonic Academy Solipsistic. After speaking, Lu Chun looked at the crystal coffin on the lake and sighed. I didn't know that Senior Qiuming was the spiritual source here. That was left behind by the ancestor of the Academy of Wunyan. Senior Sky Thief. Do you know why Senior Qiuming can be used as the spiritual source? Sky Thief frowned and didn't speak for a long time. It seemed like he didn't want to tell Lu Chun. Seeing this, Lu Chun thought that there must be something special about Qiuming that could be used as the spiritual source. Sky Thief was afraid that he would have evil thoughts, so he didn't want to tell the truth. After thinking about it, Lu Chun swung his sword several times and directly cut the 9 statues in half. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The 9 huge stone statues collapsed. Sky Thief looked at Lu Chun in shock. That's the 9-god spirit crossing array set up by that dog Wunyan. If you destroy it, the spirit vein here will be completely destroyed. Lu Chun put away the divine demon limitless sword. If it's destroyed, then so be it. The 9-god spirit crossing array is the main spirit vein of the Academy of Wunyan, but it doesn't belong to my divine demon academy. After that, I will get someone to remove the seal array near the main spirit vein. Senior Sky Thief can take Senior Qiuming and leave. It's just that. I advise you to let it go when it's time. The dead can't be revived. Let Senior Qiuming rest in peace. Thank you, Senior, for your divine demon heavenly eye. Lu Chun cupped his fists and turned to leave. Looking at the back of the departing figure, Sky Thief couldn't believe his ears. Sky Thief's eyelids twitched. Not only did this solipsistic not hurt them, he even destroyed the 9-god spirit crossing array, and even set him free. Wait. Solipsistic. Sky Thief suddenly called out to Lu Chun. Lu Chun turned back in surprise. Senior, is there something else? Do you know why Qiuming can be a spirit source? Lu Chun turned around and waited for Sky Thief to continue. Qiuming isn't dead. Lu Chun's eyes widened. What? This? You didn't hear wrong. Qiuming isn't a human. She's a spirit artifact like me. Sky Thief's eyes seemed to pass through time and space, returning to who knows how many years ago. Lu Chun was instantly shocked. Sky Thief and Qiuming were both artifact spirits? Sky Thief continued. Back then, my master and his master came to the 6th layer of heaven. Unfortunately, they encountered a sudden change, and both of them fell. My and her Dharma bodies were also destroyed. After that, Qiuming met Wunyan. She easily believed Wunyan's flowery words, and was willing to assist Wunyan. She helped him kill everyone in Xingyuan continent, and establish Wunyan Academy. However, Wunyan wasn't satisfied. He wanted to break into the immortal corpse mound and the demon monarch's lair. However, he wasn't strong enough. At the critical moment, Qiuming sacrificed herself to protect her master, and helped Wunyan block the demon monarch's 8th-floor pagoda. She fell into a coma ever since. Wunyan later saw that Qiuming hadn't woken up for a long time. The spirit vein he chose seemed to be abundant, but in fact, it was just a momentary recovery and was close to exhaustion. For his reputation and to protect Wunyan Academy, he used Qiuming as a spirit source, and used the 9-god spirit crossing array to extract her spirit energy. Qiuming was already seriously injured. With her spirit energy being continuously extracted, it was naturally impossible for her to wake up. After listening to Sky Thief's story, Lu Chun frowned. He didn't expect that there was such a past between Wunyan and Qiuming. Sky Thief looked at the stone tablet of Autumn Thought Lake, his eyes filled with helplessness. If I wasn't an artifact spirit, I would have destroyed that stone tablet countless times. What Autumn Thought Lake? You think you're righteous just because you set up a stone tablet? That's ridiculous. Lu Chun frowned. No wonder your speed is so fast. When you move, your spirit energy fluctuations are so small that I can hardly detect them. You're also not in the astral state. You're an artifact spirit. So you've been stealing my attributes and not attacking because you can't use your combat power to attack? Sky Thief nodded. That's not the case. Because I don't have a Dharmakaya, my attack power is very low. As long as you wait for the fusion of soul and body to end and become immortal, I can still easily kill you. So Sky Thief and Qiuming were both artifact spirits. In other words, their Dharmakayas were artifact-level equipment. He didn't expect the sixth heaven to have an artifact. Speaking of artifacts, Luchan suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked, Sky Thief, what's your Dharmakaya's original form? Chapter 1134. Sky Pilfer's ability wasn't weak. Even Luchan was almost defeated. If he hadn't used the star dust of destruction and the creation space, he wouldn't have been able to fight back at all. But he had to admit that Sky Pilfer's appearance really couldn't be associated with an expert. His clothes were ragged, his back was hunched, his body was shriveled, and his skin looked like it had been burned. This image reminded Luchan of a piece of broken equipment that he had obtained not long ago. Sky Pilfer and the fire rod were indeed a good match. The mirror surface 7 elements to 1 had existed a long time ago. Calculating the time, it seemed to match. My original body is... Forget it, it's useless to say this. It's already destroyed anyway. Luchan narrowed his eyes slightly, then took out a piece of rotten wood from his backpack. When you stole my equipment, why didn't you steal this? Now it was Sky Pilfer's turn to be shocked. This is... You, how did you get this thing? Luchan chuckled. Walking around the forbidden areas of each continent, there will always be some special discoveries. Why, this is your original body's Dharma body, right? No, this is Qiuming's. Luchan froze. Qiuming was so beautiful. How could she be the spirit of this broken fire rod? Don't look like that. This is the Chaos Magic Staff. The Chaos Magic Staff wasn't like this in the past. You have to know that Qiuming was the main spirit vein and spiritual source of the Academy of Intentionless for thousands of years. The spiritual power it contains is terrifying. This is something I can't compare to. If I have the Chaos Magic Staff, I might be able to wake Qiuming up. Luchan thought for a moment, then threw the Chaos Magic Staff to Sky Pilfer. Then I'll give this staff to you. Whether you can save Senior Qiuming or not will depend on your own ability. You're giving this divine weapon to me just like that? Luchan said indifferently. This thing doesn't seem to be of much use to me. If it doesn't even have a spirit, it won't be very powerful in the future. It's better to give it to you. Besides, I'm afraid that after you see it, I won't be able to prevent you from stealing it from me one day. Why don't I give it to you as a favor? All right, I'll head back first. I'll get someone to remove the seal. You can leave with Qiuming. Luchan turned around, but he suddenly thought of something. He stopped and looked at Sky Thief. You're not allowed to steal from our academy. After saying this, Luchan felt relieved and left the main spirit vein. Looking at Luchan's departing figure, Sky Thief's eyes turned red. Solipsistic, is there really an immortal cultivator like you in this world? All right, I heaven stealing will remember this favor. After saying that, he turned around and walked towards the crystal coffin. Qiuming, I can steal the sky and switch the sun, but I can't steal the Chaos Magic Staff. I didn't expect that when I wasn't stealing, someone would actually give it to me. I will definitely save you. Luchan finally came out of the main spiritual vein. At this time, he was in a weak state, but fortunately, the people waiting for him at the door were all his friends. Nameless is here. He Xing and the others hurried to greet her. Nameless, what's the situation inside? Just now, I saw you use the creation space, but it suddenly disappeared. You used the heavenly might of the gods and devils? What kind of monster is inside? It's actually the heavenly might of the gods and devils and the creation space? Did you kill him? Luchan shook his head tiredly. I didn't kill him, I was almost killed by him. Ah, Luchan said. I'm a little tired, I'm going to rest. Mabe, please remove the defense array here. That guy shouldn't cause trouble anymore, and there won't be any more spirit veins here. Mabe's face was full of suspicion. He didn't understand Luchan's words. Luchan saw Luchan's puzzled face and said, I've reached an agreement with the guy inside. He will leave here, and the spirit vein here no longer exists, so there won't be any more spirit veins here. The god and devil sacred courtyard will temporarily use the secondary spirit vein to hold on for a while. Lu Chen's weakened state made him look very tired. Everyone saw that he was in a bad mood, so they didn't continue to ask. All right, since you said it's fine, I'll immediately send someone to remove the seal array here. Lu Chen nodded and returned to his residence to rest for the time being. Lu Yi went to help Lu Chen boil medicine. Her medicine couldn't alleviate Lu Chen's weak attribute, but it could make Lu Chen feel better. After drinking the medicine, Lu Chen felt much better. Little Green, what ingredients are missing from the formula of the top-grade immortal pill? Well, there are still 2 ingredients missing. One is the Buddha lotus heart, and the other is the God entangling vine. Lu Chen had never seen these 2 medicines before. He would see if he could meet them in the future. When he found these ingredients, Little Green could try to break through to the immortal alchemist master. Then what about the materials for your rebirth? Little Green smiled. Boss, let's talk about that if we're fated. Don't worry about us now. Let's see how we're going to deal with Jiaoer's matter this time. Boss, although I'm worried about your safety if possible, I hope you don't kill Jiaoer. Little Green said with some sadness. She's a good girl and she likes you so much. Lu Chen sighed. I'm afraid that the current her strength is unfathomable. I didn't expect that because I was a step slower, it would cause today's situation. Boss, you don't have to blame yourself. We all know that it's not that you don't want to go back, it's that you can't go back. No one can do everything so perfectly. Lu Chen nodded. He could only think of a way to save Jiaoer now. Following which, Lu Chen took out the God and Demon Heavenly Eye, God and Demon Heaven's Might, God and Demon Origin Sutra, God and Demon Limitless Sword, God and Demon Lotus Heart, Emptiness of Gods and Demons Arm, God and Demon 7 Transformations, plus this God and Demon Heavenly Eye. Lu Chen already had 7 pieces of the God and Demon set. If an ordinary set had 9 pieces, then excluding the God and Demon Heavenly Eye, Lu Chen was only 1 piece away. Now Lu Chen was not in a hurry to fuse with the Heavenly Eye. He needed to recover his strength first. I actually found 2 pieces of the God and Demon set in the 6th layer of heaven. Lu Chen felt that his luck was not bad. The other one wouldn't be in the Thunder Academy, right? This was what the people in the mountains told him to go. They definitely wouldn't tell him to go for no reason. It's been less than a day since the 7-day agreement. There's still time, but it's best to ask if there's anything strange about the Thunder Academy, so as not to waste time. Now Lu Chen didn't dare to waste a single day. After all, 1 day here was equivalent to a month of cultivation for Jiaoer. Her strength had increased by a bit. That night, Lu Chen found Taihao and asked about the Thunder Academy. You asked if anything strange happened in the Thunder Academy in recent years. Dad, think about it. Tian Xian urged from the side. Aya, you little girl, at least let me remember. Taihao's heart ached. He had raised his daughter for nothing, and it was all taken advantage of by others. Strange, I haven't heard of anything strange in the Thunder Academy. Taihao frowned and said, it's usually very difficult to hide something really big. For example, the abnormality of the main spirit vein in the Wunyan Academy, or the star phenomenon in the Purple Mountain continent. And the Thunder Academy, other than being strong, has always been peaceful. Lu Chen frowned. If there was nothing wrong with the Thunder Academy, then why did the people in the mountains ask him to go? It seemed that it was impossible to figure this out in 2 days, and Lu Chen didn't have more time now. After a moment of silence, Lu Chen suddenly said, there are 6 days left before the 7-day agreement. It seems that I don't have time to go to the Thunder Academy. I can only fight with the Purple Heaven Palace in my current state. Senior Taihao, please take me to the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace. I want to borrow the Immortal Emperor Mountain Realm. Chapter 1135. Taihao brought Lu Chen to the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace. At this time, Lu Chen and Taihao were standing in front of a small mud hut. In the Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace, this hut looked out of place with the surrounding palaces. It looked more like a house that the natives of the 5th heaven lived in. It was old and small. Lu Chen kept frowning. What happened to the immortal Emperor Mountain Realm? The name was so domineering. Could it be here? Speaking of which, in Buddhism, Shumi meant the king of the mountains. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't match with this small broken house. Senior Taihao, this is the immortal Emperor Mountain Realm? Lu Chen couldn't help but ask. Taihao seemed to see through Lu Chen's thoughts and said with a smile, "That's right. Are you a little disappointed?" Lu Chen blinked. "Not really. I'm just afraid that I'll destroy this place if I cultivate here." Ha 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 ha, Nameless. Don't worry. Even if there are 10,000 of you, you won't be able to touch the mountain realm. There's a universe inside. Hearing Taihao's words, Lu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Senior Taihao, are there any benefits to cultivating here? Lu Chen still wanted to ask clearly so that he could focus on his cultivation. Taihao shook his head. I don't know, because everyone sees and hears different things in the mountain realm. The mountain realm is an independent space that isn't affected by the Jiutian. You can probably think of it as a whirlpool world. The mountain realm can only be opened once every 500 years for 5 days. There are some geniuses from our Royal Heaven Immortal Palace who have entered to cultivate as well. Some of them could only raise their levels, some of them could comprehend immortal arts, some of them could comprehend or level up their intent realm techniques. The strongest of them could even comprehend the Dao state. Dao realm. Lu Chen didn't understand. Yes. Starting from the 5th heaven, the main body enters the Jiutian. Although the strength of the battle soul is limited, there are also benefits that the battle soul can't compare to. For example, someone has mastered some skills that are not learned from skill books, such as your spirit chi refinement, creation space, and destruction stardust. At the end of the day, these skills are actually a kind of concept. It's just that the usage and performance are different. And the pinnacle of intent realm techniques is the Dao realm. With that, Taihao laughed bitterly and self-deprecatingly. That's probably all I can explain. After all, I haven't comprehended the Tao realm. It's a realm that can compete with immortal techniques. Even a true immortal might not have his own Tao realm. Lu Chen said in surprise. Senior Taihao also did not comprehend the Dao realm? Didn't you say that someone from the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace comprehended the Dao realm? There is. He's the one who founded the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. Right now, that person has already undergone his tribulation and ascended to immortality. Lu Chen's eyes widened. That super expert was actually the founder of the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. Taihao had explained enough and said, "In short, what you can get here depends on you." Lu Chen sighed and said, "It only opens once every 500 years. This Senior Taihao, Nameless has taken this opportunity. I really don't know how to thank you." Taihao smiled slightly. "Nameless, I'm helping you this time, but there's a condition. If I'm not wrong, Purple Knight Emperor's goal is not just to kill Yi Fan or destroy the demonic academy. In the past, Purple Sky Palace had to give some face to Zhong Xinge. But this time, they're clashing with you at your ranking ceremony. They must have something to rely on. You might not know, but Jiu is not the only monster in Purple Sky Palace. And we found out that they've been in frequent contact with the Heavenly Music Parlor recently. Calculating the time, the Heavenly Music Parlor's Heavenly Music Parlor should be coming out of seclusion. If the Heavenly Music Parlor comes out, then those hidden experts of the 6th heaven will probably not sit still. If that's the case, the 7-day agreement might just be a fuse, a sign that all the 6th heaven experts will come out. At this point, Taihao took a deep breath and let out a long sigh. My Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace will definitely be in the eye of the storm. It'll be difficult to stay out of it. Taihao looked at Lu Chen. Nameless, I don't ask you to get involved in this storm for the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, but if anything happens to me, please help me take care of Tian Xine. Lu Chen frowned deeply. Senior Taihao? Alright, it's getting late. Hurry up and go in. Taihao smiled at Lu Chen. He pinched his fingers together and activated the Immortal Emperor Meru realm. Lu Chen was a little nervous. He didn't know what kind of opportunity he would encounter in the Immortal Emperor Meru realm. As soon as he entered the shabby hut, Lu Chen was shocked by the scene in front of him. There was indeed a universe inside that hut. In front of him was a huge mountain range that towered into the clouds. Just the foot of the mountain was already in the clouds. He didn't know how high the peak was. Standing at the foot of the mountain, Lu Chen looked at his surroundings. The sky was clear and the breeze was gentle, caressing Lu Chen's skin. The surrounding was filled with birds chirping and flowers fragrant. Just the environment here could wash away Lu Chen's evil aura and make him forget all his worries. He only felt that his body and mind were incomparably relaxed. This is my Meru realm? Lu Chen looked up at the huge mountain. Let's go up and take a look. Lu Chen wanted to summon Ten-Winged, but he couldn't summon a mount here. He switched to using the Blood Demon Bone Wings, but there was no reaction from his back. He couldn't even use a displacement skill. It can't be. You want me to walk up the mountain? How long will it take to climb up such a tall mountain? Don't even talk about cultivating up there. Lu Chen frowned. However, he didn't know if it was the environment that made Lu Chen calm, or if it was Lu Chen's original personality, or a combination of both. In short, Lu Chen walked toward the huge mountain without hesitation. At the foot of the mountain, Lu Chen found that there were stone steps in front of him. Countless stone steps extended all the way up until he couldn't see clearly. Damn, are these stone steps that lead to the heavens? They're so high. Lu Chen sighed. Fortunately, I still have my original attributes. If I speed up, I should be able to reach the peak sooner. Lu Chen took a deep breath and stepped on the stone steps. However, when Lu Chen stepped on it, he suddenly felt like he was stepping on cotton. His foot missed. Because there was no place to exert force, Lu Chen couldn't continue walking up. Lu Chen widened his eyes and looked at the step. His foot was stuck in it. He lifted his foot and could still move it out, but he couldn't climb up. What's going on? Lu Chen activated his heavenly eye to check the stone steps under his feet. What a rich spiritual energy! Lu Chen was shocked. One had to know that the spiritual energy of stones was the most difficult to dissipate. However, the spiritual energy emitted by the stone under his feet was so rich that he felt like he was stepping on a ball of spiritual energy. Lu Chen tried to step on it again, but his left foot once again sank into the stone steps. Lu Chen frowned. He had been in Jiutian for many years, but he had never encountered such a strange thing. He tried to climb up the slope next to the stone steps, but the situation was the same as the stone steps. He stepped on nothing. No way. I can't go up this mountain. Lu Chen was a little anxious. This was his last chance to fight with Jiu, but he was trapped at the foot of the mountain. Chapter 1136. After several attempts, Lu Chen used spirit chi subtlety and selflessness, but in the end he failed. He could see the mountain clearly, but he couldn't even go up the first step. If he couldn't even go up the mountain, how could there be an opportunity? Lu Chen sat at the foot of the mountain and looked at the steps in front of him, at a loss. Isn't this a fake mountain? Did all the people who came in the past go through these steps? Lu Chen looked like he had nothing to live for. You can give me a time and space. Jiu must have been cultivating for a few days. After a moment of melancholy, Lu Chen thought of the equipment he had just obtained. He originally thought that if the mountain realm was also a time and space, then he could fuse with the heavenly eye in the mountain realm, but now it seemed that there was no difference. Taking out the black and white ball of light, Lu Chen examined it repeatedly. If not for the fact that the heaven-stealing eye was an artifact spirit, he would have fused with it long ago. Is this a magic treasure for the heavenly eye position? It should be fine to put it in the equipment slot, right? Lu Chen was just about to put the heavenly eye into his equipment slot. As he spoke, the ball of light slowly rose from Lu Chen's palm and floated in front of Lu Chen. What are you doing? Just as Lu Chen was looking at the ball of light split into two, one black and one white. Then tentacles extended and stuck to Lu Chen's eyeballs. Damn! What are you doing? Lu Chen hurriedly grabbed the two balls of light. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching pain came, and Lu Chen couldn't help but scream. The two balls of light actually drilled into Lu Chen's eyeballs. Then Lu Chen could even feel that the two balls of light were extending countless tentacles and fusing with the meridians inside his eyeballs. To be precise, They were first severing the original meridians, and then reconstructing them. This kind of pain was not something that could be eliminated in a short period of time. Waves of intense pain came from his eyes. Lu Chen fell to the ground in pain and rolled back and forth. His eyes were tightly shut and his face was ferocious. His hands formed into claws, but he did not dare to grab his eyeballs. Ah! Lu Chen screamed until he fainted from the pain. After an unknown period of time, Lu Chen slowly woke up. He slowly opened his eyes, and his consciousness gradually became clear. He had fainted while fusing with the fiend god Heavenly Eyes. Little Green, how much time has passed? Lu Chen asked weakly as he lay there. Boss, you were unconscious for an entire day. One day. Lu Chen quickly sat up. On the day that he had fainted, had cultivated for an entire month. Fortunately, the fusion with the celestial demon Heavenly Eyes had been completed, so Lu Chen did not feel any discomfort. It's actually another piece of equipment that was modified from the original body. The fiend god Heavenly Eyes was the same as the emptiness of gods and demons' arm. It did not appear on the skill panel after the fusion. Hey Heavenly Eyes, it almost hurt to death. Great ethereal arm, at least tell me its effects. Aren't you going to explain it? Lu Chen tried to talk to his eyes. The eyes did not speak. No way, I have to figure it out myself? I don't have that much time now. Lu Chen held his forehead, feeling that he was really under pressure. The Heavenly Eyes effect should be a support type. Rhubarb. Lu Chen called out Rhubarb. Lend me the mirror. Rhubarb was still unwilling to give the mirror to Lu Chen, but Lu Chen directly snatched the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror away. I'm just looking at a mirror. Do you have to do this? Lu Chen picked up the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror, and vaguely saw his eyes in the mirror. They were no different from usual. It's probably the same as the Great Ethereal Arm. It will only become the Fiend God Heavenly Eyes when it needs to work. Lu Chen was about to return the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror to Rhubarb, when he suddenly froze. Huh. Isn't this mirror called the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror? Why is it called the 3 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror now? Did I remember it wrong? The name at the bottom of the mirror did change to 3 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror. Lu Chen thought about it carefully. He definitely remembered it correctly. This thing turned out to be the 9 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror. Rhubarb, did you do it? Rhubarb wagged his tail happily with a proud face. Lu Chen didn't know why the mirror became the 3 Revolutions Golden Crow mirror, but Rhubarb was still a trash at the moment. This had not changed. He shook his head and said, Hey, forget it. Anyway, you don't seem to be useful except for cheering. Here's the mirror. After recalling Rhubarb, Lu Chen pondered about the fiend god Heavenly Eyes in his heart. Lu Chen estimated. The eyes are related. One is the eyesight in battle, including locking on to the opponent, seeing through illusions, etc. The other is the ability to see different things. Thinking of this, Lu Chen walked to the stone steps and continued to observe the stone steps. Fiend God Heavenly Eyes. Lu Chen shouted casually. He sat in front of the stone steps and stared at the stone steps with his eyes wide open. After holding this position for a few minutes, Lu Chen's eyes were sore, and he stopped trying. Fuck, except for seeing a little more clearly, it's useless. He tried all kinds of methods, but he still couldn't go up Mount Meru. He didn't know how to use the fiend god Heavenly Eyes. Lu Chen felt that his luck at the critical moment was really bad. However, Lu Chen didn't give up yet. I used spiritual chi subtlety before, but I didn't get the fiend god Heavenly Eyes at that time. Now I'll try again. Lu Chen didn't use the Heavenly Eyes to observe the movement of spiritual chi. Instead, he directly used his eyes. This time, Lu Chen finally found something different. Under the spiritual chi subtlety, he could see even more subtle things. He could clearly see the spiritual chi emitted by the stone steps, and it was slowly moving. This. Lu Chen's eyes widened. In the past, he could see spiritual chi at most, but now he could see spiritual chi threads. Did the spiritual chi subtlety level up? Under the microscopic observation, Lu Chen found that the spiritual chi emitted by the stone steps was constantly escaping outwards. He tried to press his hand down. and the spiritual qi flow formed by the spiritual qi threads began to sink in. This should be the reason why he failed when he stepped on it. Lu Chen frowned. Just as he was thinking of countermeasures, he found a stone beside him. The spiritual qi structure was very similar to the stone steps. Lu Chen picked up the stone and placed it on the stone steps. Something strange happened. The spiritual qi structure of the two was almost exactly the same. After the stone was placed on it, the spiritual qi flow of the stone steps didn't sink. The stone steps withstood the weight of the stone and didn't sink. Lu Chen's eyes widened. I understand now. I need to synchronize the spiritual qi I emit with the stone steps. Only then can I step on the stone steps. Thinking of this, Lu Chen began to test the spiritual qi threads emitted from his palm. Every spiritual qi thread can't have a mistake. Lu Chen held his breath and focused all his attention on his hand. He carefully adjusted the spiritual qi emitted from his palm. A few hours later, Lu Chen gently placed his palm on the stone steps. This time, he clearly felt that his palm was pressing on something solid. He exerted a little more force, but the stone steps still didn't sink. Success! Lu Chen said in surprise. If he could adjust the spiritual qi emitted from his palm, adjusting his feet wouldn't be difficult. After another 10 minutes, Lu Chen stood up and carefully stepped on the stone steps. A steady feeling came from his feet. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and stepped on it. The stone steps didn't sink. Lu Chen stood on the stone steps. Finally, Lu Chen stood on the first step. Chapter 1137. Although he had spent more than a day and only reached the first step, Lu Chen felt that he had already won. Ha 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 ha, I finally figured it out. Lu Chen laughed and stepped onto the second step. However, Lu Chen followed the method of the first step. As soon as he stepped on it, his left foot sank into the stone step. Fuck! What's going on? Lu Chen hurriedly pulled his foot back. After a careful examination, Lu Chen discovered a terrifying thing. The spirit energy structure of the second step was different from that of the first step. Because of this, when he imitated the spirit energy released on the first step, it failed on the second step. Oh my god! I'm only going up the step. Lu Chen almost collapsed. He had no choice but to start studying the second step. However, worse was yet to come. In the process of studying, Lu Chen changed the way his spirit energy circulated, causing him to sink into the first step. Lu Chen looked at his deeply sunken feet and almost collapsed. No way, could it be that I have to quickly control my spirit energy and change the way my spirit energy circulates when I lift my foot? Only then can I walk up step by step? This is too difficult. The spirit energy supporting my foot and moving my foot has to be different and constantly changing. How much spirit energy do I have to control to achieve this? Returning to the starting point and looking at the mountain in front of him again, Lu Chen felt that this was probably the most difficult mountain to climb in the world. However, Lu Chen was not someone who gave up easily. The good news now was that Lu Chen had thoroughly figured out the method to climb the stone steps. As long as the method was correct, he could climb the mountain. I don't believe that I can't go up. Lu Chen cursed and stepped onto the first step. This time, after he lifted his left foot, he kept it suspended in the air for a long time. At the same time, he tried to change the spirit energy circulation on the left side of his body. After standing on one leg for half an hour, Lu Chen took the second step. This time his left foot did not sink into the stone step. Very good, the third step. Lu Chen used his godfiend heavenly eyes to quickly observe the spirit qi fluctuations on the third step. His left foot was on the ground, and his right foot was raised. It's too difficult to form two types of spiritual energy in my body at the same time. Lu Chen gritted his teeth, but he didn't have any better ideas. He could only continue climbing step by step. Level 3 success. Lu Chen couldn't help but raise his head to take a look. He couldn't see the end of this stairway at all, as if it was leading to the horizon. He didn't know how far he could go in 5 days. I don't care anymore. I'll go as far as I can. Lu Chen collected his thoughts and focused on his feet. He began to climb the stone steps one by one. In the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace, I reported the results of the investigation of the Purple Mountain continent to Taihao. We've already found out that the purple pillar of light was emitted from the star sky fantasy realm. We can't find out the details for the time being. We can only confirm that the star phenomenon was very strong at that time. And Purple Night Prince wasn't in the star sky fantasy realm at that time. Taihao narrowed his eyes slightly. No matter what it is, it's very terrifying to be able to cause a star phenomenon. And this time, the star phenomenon came from the star sky fantasy realm. If Purple Night Prince wasn't in the star sky fantasy realm at that time, that means it's Dark Eclipse Geo. Dark Eclipse Geo. What great opportunity did you get? Taihao frowned. Don't tell me, you've collected the Dark Eclipse Chaos set. Among the opportunities of the Dark Eclipse, collecting the full set was obviously one of the greatest opportunities. Once the Dark Eclipse Chaos set was collected, it could indeed cause a star phenomenon. Unfortunately, there was no conclusion, so Taihao could only guess. Is there any movement at the Heavenly Music Pavilion? Taihao asked. Palace Lord, the Heavenly Music Pavilion is currently on guard, waiting for the Heavenly Music Old Ghost to appear. Due to the tight security, we can't get more information. Taihao nodded. Palace Lord, apart from the Heavenly Music Pavilion, the Immortal Form Sect, Ghost Valley Sect, Sword Shake Mountain, and 5 Poison Machine Mountain seem to be moving. Those old guys seem to be restless. In addition, the Dark Tribe has found the figures of some hidden experts. Taihao took a deep breath. I've sent people to investigate other places. I'm guessing that these super experts who are about to transcend tribulation must have sensed something. Ever since Dark Eclipse Geo came to the 6th heaven, these things have happened one after another. It's really suffocating. After the subordinate left, Tian Xian walked out from behind Taihao. Seeing his daughter's worried face, Taihao's heart ached. Now that she knew about the star phenomenon, this girl should be even more worried. Father, what terrifying thing Lu Chen is going to face this time? Xian lowered her eyes and sighed. I'm just afraid that Nameless won't have the heart to kill him. He said he wants to save Geo so he won't kill Dark Eclipse. But Dark Eclipse won't show mercy. Taihao sighed. As the master of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, Taihao often put himself in the other party's shoes to think about problems. This was helpful for him to predict the other party's next move. However, when he stood in Lu Chen's shoes and faced the current problem, he couldn't find the best way to deal with it. At this time, probably no one wanted to be Lu Chen. No one was willing to face what he was going to face next. The only chance now is to see what kind of opportunity that kid can obtain in the Immortal Emperor Mountain realm, said Taihao. If he can comprehend the Dao realm, we can still fight. Father, since the establishment of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, countless geniuses have entered the mountain realm. Only the Ancestral Master has comprehended the Dao realm. Moreover, the past of the Immortal Palace also mentioned that the Ancestral Master had already peeked into the Dao realm before entering the mountain realm. Xian shook her head and said, Taihao naturally knew about this. It seemed that although his daughter was worried about Lu Chen, she still had reason. She couldn't be so perfunctory. Taihao took his daughter's hand and said earnestly, Xian Lu Chen can come all the way. To be honest, I never thought that a mortal without any background could come this far by himself. He must have created countless miracles. At this time, all of our worries are useless. If he wants to solve this problem, he can only rely on himself. Either he continues to defy the heavens or he falls. This is something we can't control. Taihao looked at his daughter with tears in her eyes and said gently, I know you want me to send someone to help him. But you also know that the old devil Tianyin is about to come out. At that time, the 6 heavens will be stirred and the hidden experts will appear one after another. As the master of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, I must protect this 10,000 years of foundation. Otherwise, how can I face my master? How can I face the Ancestral Master? How can I face the 100,000 disciples of the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace? Tian Xian. Er's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at her father with heartache. Although she was worried about Lu Chen, she was also worried about her father. Lu Chen had to face Dark Shurjio, and what her father had to face next was an unimaginable change. Father Exiner knows. Exiner shouldn't have forced you. Taihao patted Exiner's head. If Dark Shurjior gathers the Dark Corrosion Chaotic set, then this matter will become more complicated. No matter how the situation develops, let's first watch the fated battle between Dark Corrosion Chaotic set and Celestial Demon against the Heavens. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.